She celebrated the fact that there has been 9/11.
The school teacher?
Principal.
The head of the school?
The head of the school. Right?
What was the pupils' reaction?
Everyone cheering. One of my bugs was like Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old girl. I was like, that's fucked up. The literacy rate in Pakistan is 59%. 41% of Pakistan is illiterate. And they said, no, your brother has raped our woman. Now we're going to rape you. And they took her then and there. 8 of them raped her. These people, they had difficulty assimilating in the metropolitan cities of Pakistan.
And you're bringing them to Great Britain?
Yeah. The things were that you can't dissent, and apostasy was equal to death. That was one of my reasons as well why I left. They would like say like I'm batshit crazy about this. The only thing that can save the West in that sense is Christianity. But I need to get my message out because I need to save this country. I cannot, God forbid, if I die within the 6 months, I would be more aggrieved knowing that there's no future for this country.
Information covered up, censorship, corruption. The mainstream media have proven itself to be untrustworthy. I'm here to give a platform for debate, for truth, for open discussion. I'm introducing you to my podcast, Silenced with Tommy Robinson.
Who exactly is Tommy Robinson, or Stephen Yaxley-Lennon?
With the English Defence League, the EDL.
The problem is with Islamic
The English far-right Islamophobic activists.
Since then, there's been organised protests across the country in London, Manchester, Leeds. People in their thousands are marching for Robinson streets.
There is no such thing in this country as a Muslim.
Free Tommy Robinson!
Welcome to my latest edition of Silence, my podcast where I get to sit down with so many different interesting characters. Today's character and today's guest, I first come across him on Twitter, where I ended up looking at his tweets and agreeing with pretty much all of them. And then I saw that he was of Pakistani descent, I believe, and very outspoken against Pakistan, which I like a lot anyway, yeah. So my guest today is Mo. Mo, thank you.
Hi there.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You've built quite a following on Twitter as well.
Yeah, just recently in past 2-3 months.
Is that it? The past 2-3 months started rising up with the climate of politics in the UK?
Yeah, I think so, and just, I guess, speaking the truth.
So I see, I just want to start at the beginning, yeah? Because I know you're outspoken against Pakistan. I want to go through who you are. I wanted to understand. Because I saw your profile, I just thought, let's find out who this man is. Yeah. Who this man is, where he comes from. Where was you born, man?
So I was born in Middle East. I was born in Kuwait. And I was 4 years old when the Gulf War happened. So we traveled at that time from Kuwait to Pakistan because my parents are from Pakistan, right? So we traveled it took us a month or 2 months to travel by road from Kuwait to Pakistan because we left it too late.
So you made refugees?
Yeah, but after a year in Pakistan, went back to Kuwait. Okay. So I lived there in Kuwait till I was 15 years old, 14, 15, so till mid-teens. And then I went and lived in Pakistan for 10 years. That's with the time when I became an ex-Muslim as well. I left the religion, it took a while. And then I came over here because I always wanted to come to Britain. So, that was my eventual sort of a thing.
But till you was 15, you grew up in Kuwait?
Yeah.
What's that like? What was it like? What was it like before the invasion and after the invasion?
Not much different, when it comes to culture.
Okay.
I think so. The thing with Kuwait is it's like Dubai, right? But like a village of Dubai, right? So it's on a small scale Dubai.
Okay.
Right. So you don't have these extremist views.
You don't have them.
No, you don't have them that. I don't know where it is now because it's been a while since I been in Kuwait. Yeah. But when I was growing up, it's more Americanized. And you're more free. I remember the woman from Saudi Arabia would come to Kuwait because it was more free for them and they can take off the hijab and stuff like that over there in Kuwait. Okay. So it was sort of like a hub for them in that way, So it was pretty relaxed environment. You weren't compelled to follow any religion and stuff like that. Okay. There were Christians over there as well, and so it was no
jihad.
No jihad as well. Kuwaitis were too busy drinking and whoring around.
Drinking alcohol.
Yeah. So this is the reason why other Arabs were coming to Kuwait, because they had access to these things.
You could party in Kuwait.
Yeah, exactly. And most Kuwaitis would then go to Lebanon, and because in those times Lebanon was not filled with Hezbollah.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful country and stuff, and they would go over there. They all had second homes over there, and whatnot. So it was a pretty chilled environment, I would say. And I grew up among like a lot of different nationalities, because it was in Kuwait, like even though I was born there, my older sister was born there. My mom and dad got married over there, and my dad was living over there since he was 18 years old. They don't give nationalities.
To anyone.
No. So
you're listening,
yeah.
Britain. You're listening, Britain. Jesus.
Exactly. Now, and the moment that you turn 18, either you get a work permit, or you get out.
Or you leave.
Yes.
There's no benefit system. There's
No, nothing. So that's why when I was turning 15, my sister was going to be like 17 years old and stuff. So it was a point where should we go? So my dad still decided to stay in Kuwait because he was working over there. And he sent us to Pakistan, so he would come every 3 months and stuff over there.
Okay, so he stayed working in Kuwait and sent his wife and...
Yeah.
Just have one sister?
Yeah, one sister and one brother.
One sister, one brother.
Yeah.
How is that moving at 15 years old from Kuwait to Pakistan?
Shit. I think so. I can swear.
No,
right?
you can swear, mate. Yeah.
Fucking shit.
So you leave all your friends?
Yeah, it's not just like, it's not just the friends, because like 15 is an important age for a boy, right? Because like turning into a man, and without a father, it was hard to adjust, and then be put into a country like Pakistan, which this religion is the same, but the culture is completely different. So I went through a culture of like Arab American sort of Americanized culture to a completely backwater culture in Pakistan. And these people were like out of control. Like I did not have anything to relate with them, right? So I found it really hard adjusting. I did like make really good friends and stuff, because the good thing was that I was in Karachi, which is still a metropolitan city.
Yeah.
And my parents are from Muhajir background, which we'll go further when we discuss Pakistan.
Yep.
So they are like Urdu speaking people. They are the ones who, not my parents personally, but my great grandparents, they migrated from India to Pakistan at the time of partition. Okay. So they're called Muhajirs, Urdu speaking people, right? They're like 8% of Pakistan.
8%?
Yeah.
Okay.
So below 8%, I think so. And these are the ones who are like highly educated people. They have similar culture to England. Okay. Same sense of humor, same sort of way of talking, same mannerisms. They're very similar, a lot of similarities with British, and that was because where they were living in cities, in industrialized cities, or British industrialized cities like Lucknow and places like that, there were a lot of British over there, and they had industrialized those places.
Okay.
So they had imported their culture onto them, and they were more assimilated to their culture. Okay. So even though if they went to Pakistan, and they had like their own regional culture was like that anyways. Okay. That's why they got along really well. Okay. So even for them, a lot of like Muhajirs, Urdu-speaking people who haven't mixed with other ethnicities within Pakistan, they find the rest of Pakistan very weird.
Very backward compared to...
Yeah, because their own culture is not the same. Like, to tell you a reference of the culture of Muhajirs, right? So the Urdu-speaking people. Punjabis and other people make fun that if two Urdu-speaking people would come at crossroads, no one will be able to go anywhere, because they will keep on saying pehle aap, which means after you, right? And that's a very polite. English thing.
Because they're yeah.
Right? That's a very English thing. Like they will say no after you, like, and so they make fun of us in that way, that we will never be able to cross because we are so polite to each other, right? Okay. Now compare that to the Pakistanis that we see over here.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are from Punjab. And that's why I was telling you that, because these people are from Punjab and we don't match well with them even within Pakistan, because they're different ethnicity. They're different culture. You just can't, and that's when people of different ethnicities and culture, which have bad base cultures, when they adopt an ideology like Islam, which enables bad things, different people are going to portray it differently than people, ethnicities or cultures who are already bad or have a bad base are going to take all the bad elements and exponentially expose them.
Yeah.
Right? people who are more cultured are going to take those same things but mellow it down.
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't match with them.
With how they've been brought up.
Yeah.
So you moved there at 15?
Yeah, I moved there till I was 15. I think it's 14, 15, something in 2000. That's when I went, like when...
Just before September 11th?
Yeah. No, when was September 11th? I think so, 2000...
2001, yeah.
One, yeah. A year before that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't cause it. So...
I don't know. I think we had this conversation on the last podcast. Who actually caused it?
Yeah.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, and that was actually the point where I started leaving Islam as well.
At 2011? At 2001?
With the event of 9/11.
With the event of 9/11?
Yeah, because it showed me the real faces. Because I had doubts, right?
Growing up, you had doubts.
I had always
How religious
had
were your
doubts.
mum and dad? Did you go mosque every Friday? Did you pray 5 times a day?
Yeah. So like going to mosque every Friday is not like really religious, right? Really religious is praying 5 times a day in the mosque for
Every
a
day.
guy, right?
Okay.
Friday like is flaky Muslims who go just on Fridays,
Okay.
right? So it's a very different concept, and really flaky are those who just go to mosque 2 times a year for the 2 Eids,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We have those as well.
Yeah,
So I used to go all the Fridays with my dad. But you know, like when you're growing up in Kuwait, now they don't mix with you, the Kuwaitis, right? So I mix a lot with Bedouin Arabs, but they are mental. They're like wild people. You know, you would play football with them, you know, on this sand with the rocks and stuff. And if you score a goal, they all start pelting you with stones, so you have to run away. So that was it. That was the end of the game, right? They were wild people, right? So Kuwaitis don't like them as well.
Okay.
And
they
they're-
seem very calm in Israel when I went to Israel.
But those are different kind of Bedouins.
Okay.
These are the kind of Bedouins who would have migrated to become Palestinians,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's why when you see the Palestinian, they are Bedouins because there's nothing like Palestine, right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as Palestine. But when you see those Arabs in Gaza and West Bank, that's why they're so wild.
Okay.
Because they come from these sort of cultures, right? But anyways, like, so I knew Arabic, but not enough, right, to understand it fully when it's spoken very fluently. But I knew enough to read, to understand, and like even to understand people and stuff. So when I was going in Kuwait to Friday sermons, most of the time I didn't understand what the hell Imam was saying anyways, because it was in Arabic.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just going there praying or whatever, just following my dad. He spoke and understood Arabic, whatever. And you know what the funny thing is? Their mosques are regulated.
They're regulated in Kuwait
Yeah.
to prevent extremists.
Yes, and well, to have control.
Yeah, to control.
I don't know, like, because to prevent extremists or not, because their sermons, their Friday sermons, come from their council to each mosque, right? And they have a list of topics only that they can speak about on that Friday,
Okay.
right? So you
Okay.
can't go against it, and they're monitored as well.
Okay.
So if you do, that they would know.
So there's no other influence over the mosques
No.
from other countries, from other sects?
Exactly. But at the same time, we can't say that that's to reduce extremism, because sometimes they would give out to say things against Israel, right?
Against Israel, yeah.
But it's the process
Yeah.
that is like to focus on and not the message.
Yeah,
You know what they're
they
saying.
want to control what's
Yeah,
being said.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, which we should probably be doing here.
Well, we should not be allowing any mosque anyways, but even if we have them, we should be monitoring them 24/7, because there are mosques over here that they would not allow.
In any of their countries, no.
No,
There's groups
none.
over here that are banned in the Middle East
Yeah.
from everywhere. Okay, so you're 15, you moved to Pakistan. What is the culture shock in Pakistan?
Well, first of all,
What's the problem in Pakistan?
the first culture shock was not that many people were aware of the media shock, right? The arts shock. Because I was like very much into the arts and literature and like the media and stuff like that. Even at that age, I was reading Shakespeare when I was 12, 13 years old, you know. And when I went to Pakistan, you don't have that same intellect capacity with people, but also not just intellect capacity, you don't have the people with the same interests. I wouldn't say intellect capacity because there is a lot within the Karachi group where I went,
Okay.
but they just weren't interested in the same sort of literature and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you see their programs and stuff like that, you just cannot assimilate. You just don't know. right? And then when you go out, like go into school and stuff, you find out how weird the culture is within the boys of that age as well, because they have been. I didn't see in Kuwait there was no drumming down that much of we hate the Jews, like everything problem is of Israel and stuff. You didn't have that much. Maybe within the Kuwaiti tribes and stuff they would have it, but because we were so detached, I had it from other members of the family, not from my direct family, you know. But that was multiplied 10, 20, 30 times in schools in Pakistan.
So in schools they're bringing up the kids just to...
Yeah, but they don't even have to say it because they get it from their homes. So they all understand it.
Okay.
Right? And when 9/11 happened, I was 15ish at that time, or 15 and a half that time. We used to have like this school assembly where everyone would like gather, and like there would be principal and stuff, like, you know, made us do stupid exercises or whatever, like, you know, how it's like. And she celebrated the fact that there has been 9/11.
The school teacher?
Principal.
The head of the school?
The head of the school, right?
What was the pupils' reaction?
Everyone cheering. She made everyone cheer. That there's been the thing, and I remember her saying about like, yeah, but none of the Jews were there. The 3,500 Jews that were supposed to be working over there, they all like, yeah, that same crap, right? But I wasn't processing what she was saying. I was like, people have died. Innocent people have died. You're cheering. What is, even at the age of 15, I was like, what is this? I thought that this religion is supposed to care about the innocents, that we never kill the innocent, that if we have a war, that we fight the war with the armies, right? It's nothing to do with the innocent, killing of the innocent. But I saw the bloodlust in those people. You know, a blow to America, a blow to our enemies, the West and stuff. And I was like, even at the age of 15, I was like, you do know that you get all the aid from America. Your country is sustained from the aid from America because your politicians are so corrupt. You know, and why hate the Jews? Like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? I just refuse to hate a group of people I've never met. I was like, I'm not gonna hate people. But look at them, everyone is against them and they still come up on top. You should be admiring those people and not hating them.
And what happened? So were these the moments that would trigger you leaving Islam?
Yeah.
At this time?
This is the time when I started leaving Islam, because I've written like a Substack about like my 10 top things why I left Islam, right? Those were the niggling doubts that I always had in my head when these things were taught to me, because I always wanted to read the translation and not just the, you know, Arabic and just like repeat it like a parrot, you know. So I had always doubts, like one of my bugs was like Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old girl. I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, because I just said this to, I've just had a Muslim girl on now. And I said to her, how does any Muslim move on from that?
You can't. You can't.
If he married a 6-year-old and he had sex with her when she was 9, and he's 53 at marriage and 56 when he's raped her.
You know, people at that time had a problem with that as well. But nobody, like, everyone has suppressed that, right? There were some people who had problem with that.
They were questioning Muhammad at the time.
Yeah. They're like, you know, are you sure? You know, everyone used to do that. No, everyone used to do that, 13, 14-year-old girls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That has always been a traditional stuff. Fucked up, but not as fucked up as marrying a 6-year-old. Yeah. He used to bring him toys. Like, what the fuck?
She had a doll.
Yeah.
When she was playing with dolls.
Yeah.
So
that was a huge point for me, right? And that was always niggling in my head. And I used to think, like, you know, maybe like when the Prophet died, right? The Shia sect was made afterwards, and then there was Sufism was made right afterwards as well, right? And they were the actual Mohammedans, the Sufis, because in a way, because they made a pact with Muhammad rather than Islam, you know, so they would follow Muhammad, right? And then there was like other Sunnis and stuff like that, you know, sects were made, and the all the other caliphs who wanted to conquer and stuff. So I thought maybe they made, like, for their own gains, they made stories up about him.
Okay, so yeah.
You know, like, you're trying to justify. because you're not a bad person, and you're trying to justify. If I have to follow someone, I have to find some sort
Well,
of
that's what this girl
justification.
just done. She said he was 19 and she started going through all this stuff and she believed everything else inside Hebrew Kari but didn't believe that.
You gotta question, right? So I thought that would be the case, but the more I looked into it, so from the age of 15, I started looking into it. It took me 6 years, and then I left completely. I went through many phases of it. But these were the things that came. I started looking more and more, and I was like, well, it's confirmed. It's confirmed she was 6, and he consummated the marriage when she was 9. I said, that's disgusting. I'm sorry, but that's disgusting.
At
right?
any time, just pick a 6-year-old.
Anytime.
Just look at a 6-year-old, look at a 9-year-old. Like, what are you talking about?
I say, this is a pedo,
Yeah.
right? This is a fucking pedo. Like, and then you're saying, and you're telling me like, oh no, it's during his time. It's like, oh, but hang on. I thought Prophet Muhammad was for all times,
Yeah, perfect.
right? So you have a 6-year-old, marry her to me then,
Basically.
right?
Yeah.
And if you're disgusted by it, why aren't you not disgusted by a prophet then? Who the hell thinks like that? And none of these moderate Muslims, right? None of them agree with marrying their daughters that young.
That's 6. Yeah.
They don't, and they
But they still won't condemn him. They'll still say he's perfect.
That's the thing, and because everything falls down from it. See, so that was the main point. That at the end, I was like that this is it. I can't, because when he's not perfect, the whole religion falls down.
The rest is bullshit.
Yeah, because everything depends on him, right? And the other things were that you can't dissent, and apostasy was equal to death. That was one of my reasons as well why I left.
Okay, so apostasy is equal to death, but that's a big reason not to leave. For
No, that
many
was
people.
the reason for me to leave.
That's the
Because I
reason
was like, you're not confirmed in your faith. If this is your return policy, you don't have any confidence in your product.
Yeah, if you're going to kill me for someone changing their mind.
And that was like, this is why I call like anyone who's converting to Islam, I say like, read their return policy first.
Yeah.
What is your product return policy? You know, you don't like it, I kill you. I was like, you're not sure about your product then, are you? Then I was like, well, why should I?
But how does, when a decision's going through your mind, because many people don't leave because they become an outcast of their family as well.
Well, a lot of ex-Muslims leave because they have been put in a position where they have to leave, right? Either they are women or they're men who want different things, who want to have a different life, liberal life, or whatever. I didn't have any of those pressures on me.
Okay, so your family weren't.
No, because my family were like pretty moderate, like,
Okay.
you know, they didn't care about these things, and there was no pressure from my family to adhere to any of the Islamic, like, you know, things. Like, my mom and dad were normal, but it was me, myself, like, sort of researching and not being able to confirm in my head the morality of staying with an ideology that was so wrong to myself. And it just step by step, it just became clear to me that this is evil. It's not just wrong, it's pure evil, you know, and it's so manipulative. And, you know, I came up with, there were so many other reasons as well, like the idea of sex slaves and stuff, right? So, okay, the idea of sex slave is in Judaism as well, but they've grown out of it.
They're not practicing it.
Yeah, and they will never practice it at all, right? But I saw like all the scholars approving it. I was like, how can you just do that to women and be okay with, like, you know, there were things like that started coming up more and more and
For
more.
people who
and
don't understand sex slavery in Islam,
Yeah.
can you explain it?
Yeah, actually, you know, I wrote it down.
Because some people will think, well, what do you mean sex slaves? People
Yeah.
who are not knowledgeable in Islam or the Quran or Muhammad.
Yeah, so you see, that's why I wrote these down so I don't forget. So it's sort of like by conquest, right? So when you actually conquer someone, you're allowed to have sex slaves, and those sex slaves are on top of your wives, of your 4 wives that you're allowed, right? So that's your bounty from Allah. So Allah is giving you the bounty in the world, and He's saying in Quran, He says it again and again, that these are your rewards, and these are also for people who can't find wives and stuff like that. So satisfy yourself with the sex slaves, and they're all non-Muslims. So this is not a fringe idea. This is not a scholar coming up with fringe idea. It's in the Quran, right?
4 times. I think one of the verses actually says you are blameless.
Yes.
So as you say, that's not a fringe idea. So that's a main pillar of the teachings of Islam.
Yeah.
Is that
and the thing is, like, all you can say is like, I don't want to do it. That's all you can say, right? But you can't say the other Muslims can't do it.
Yeah.
So there could be one person out of a million who wouldn't do it, but that doesn't. His moderate actions does not justify the core teachings.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know. So, but there's other things like that as well, right? So when people talk about Sharia itself, right? Sharia itself, like, do you find any difference from communism?
Because 40%, 40% of the British Muslims want Sharia law.
Yeah.
So a few million people.
But this is my problem, right? So Sharia law is very much tailored as communism, right?
Can you explain that?
Well, the authoritative value of it, right?
Yep.
So it's controlling each aspect of your life, right?
Inheritance.
Everything, right? Inheritance to how you even have sex, to how you wash yourself, everything, right? It has everything. And that's a very communist sort of style of thinking, like that level of control.
Yeah.
You know, which is why you have so many communists probably, you know, linking with Islam.
Yeah. Well, there seems to be an alliance at the minute, especially.
And that was one of the reasons as well. Sharia was one of the other reasons as well, why I was like, who the fuck are you? Are you telling me that my relationship with God is personal? Then why are you telling me how to live? You telling me that He will judge me by my actions, right? Then why are you judging me? Right? You don't have any right to judge me. You know, if you're saying Allah is all powerful and all knowing, blah, blah, all that shit, right? So I'll deal with Him, right? What is your problem? What is your beef?
Yeah.
You know, why are you so concerned?
It's between me and Allah.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Why are you going to cut my hand off?
Yeah. But the thing is, Allah also says these things about flogging and cutting off hands and punishment within hadiths and Quran and stuff like that anyways. So that's where it sort of becomes like, is it a religion or is it a communist policy? Like, you know, that's what I meant. Like, is it a policy of how to live and everything like that, or is it a spiritual religion?
It's a policy of how to live.
There's no spirituality in there. You know, and that's what I've like mainly found within Islam. Like at the end, that I went to Sufism for a very long time. You know,
So what was you brought up? What sect was you brought up?
We weren't told.
No, and
it was close to Wahhabism.
Was it?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, because
and Wahhabism's pretty strict.
Pretty strict, right? But which also means like they don't pay that much attention to hadiths as well. Like, you know, it's like mainly Quran and stuff like that, right? But also, like, when you have a good mind and you're reading a book like that, you sort of cling on to the good parts of it. And you sort of ignore the bad parts because, like, I'm not going to do them. Right? So it's sort of like there's a thing within Islam, which I really like, is about how to stand up against evil or wrong things. Right? So it says upon every person, when they see evil, to stop it by hand. Failing to do so, they should say things against it, like speak against it.
Okay.
And the last failing to do even that, they should at least think it's wrong.
Okay.
Right? I really like that. But the problem is, their definition of evil is themselves. Like, exactly.
It's not believing
it's
now.
Everything. Yeah. Their definition of evil is wrong. But the process of, like, you know, doing it, I liked it.
Yeah.
And I have taken that on in my life very seriously. Right? And that has defined my personality. Because if I see something wrong, I will say it. I will try to stop it and I will say it. I won't just think it in my head. And it comes from that. So it's weird that something so strong...
A verse from the Quran that's helped in your life, but you're now a non-Muslim, you still live your life by that verse.
Yeah. It's
and that's probably why you're speaking...
I think it's like from the hadiths and stuff,
Probably why you're speaking out now about Islam.
Yeah. I think so it's like it comes from hadiths and stuff like that. Like, you know. But like... Also, like, if you think about it, like, another big reason of leaving or something like that is Islam allows you to lie. And
Because
I
Muhammad
did
was
not like
known
it.
as the ultimate deceiver.
I did not like that. I
But
was
some
like,
people say that's Shia. Sunnis,
no,
would argue.
no, so the
Taqiyya.
taqiyya, right?
Okay.
So with taqiyya, like it's sort of, that is Shia. So what happened was during the time when the Shias were becoming like wanted to be Shias and stuff, Sunnis were persecuting them, right? So they had to build a way of deceiving the Sunnis. So they made that as part of their religion.
Okay.
And they practice this. The Shias practice this as part of the religion. Sunnis don't practice it as part of religion. They don't even consider it as a good thing. They say out of necessity, and even then death is preferable to lying.
Just explain to viewers what taqiyya is.
So it's a practice of lying, of deceiving and lying to save one's own life or to get a political gain
To further the goals of.
to further the goals of Islam.
Okay.
Right?
So what was you talking about if you weren't talking about taqiyya with the lying?
Well, the thing is, like, I was talking about even more stricter things. So we were told, like, if let's say you're starving or something, you can eat pork,
Yeah.
right? If you're dying of it, like, you can eat haram food and stuff like that, right? And if your life is in danger, you can lie. I already had a problem with that, like the Sunni version of it, non-taqiyya version of it.
Yeah.
I even had a problem with that because in my head I was like, well, God is not supposed to be reasonable. If there's a God, God is supposed to expect things of you that even you can't deliver because he's expecting you to reach a standard which is beyond reach, right? He's not supposed to be reasonable. He's not supposed to tell you practical things. He's not a practical God because that means it's a man who's creating it. God is supposed to tell you that you can't lie even at the pain of death. But then you lie and afterwards you ask his salvation. That I'm sorry God, like I lied, like, but I had to. That's a God, right? It has to be, on this point, it has to be impractical God. That was what was going through my head. But then I learned about taqiyya way afterwards. Actually, probably when I came to England, when I learned about it. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? which part of Quran is this? Like, you know? But it's not, that's the thing, it's not in Quran, it's something that the Shias have taken and made it into a philosophy of their own.
Okay, for some
And because of this, it's encoded within Islamism, right, which is the political tool that comes out of the shit of Islam anyways, right? The jihadis and Islamists, they are two different arms of the same thing. That Islamism has come out of Iran, which is the Shia version of Islam, and that's why Sunnis these days who are within Islamism also practice taqiyya.
Can you tell me, so Islamism, because I struggle with Islamism.
Yeah.
I believe it lets Islam off the hook. When people blame the problems that we're seeing.
I don't blame Islamism though.
No,
but it's like it's good to understand what it is, right?
How would you explain? Because what it is, I say, well, was Muhammad an Islamist?
No.
No, you don't think
no,
he was
a jihadi.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because an Islamist is someone who wishes to use violence.
He was probably an Islamist when he was in Makkah, when he didn't have enough power.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
He was being a snake. When he went to Medina and got the power, he became a jihadi, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's what all Islamists will happen, right? This is why I speak against Islamists as well.
How do you explain to someone what an Islamist is then?
So is Islamism, as far as I understand it, right? So, because these are the terms that came up afterwards, and they are nothing to do with the religion, right? So if someone like me, who for 6-7 years was going through this spiritual quest.
Is that long it took you to leave Islam?
Yeah.
6 years?
Because...
How old was you when you left Islam then?
21.
How old are you now, man?
30, will be 38 this year.
Okay.
Right, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the thing is, like, I wasn't leaving because I was hindered by Islam in any way. You know, I didn't want to go party and stuff like that. That wasn't my goal. Like, it was a spiritual sort of like, you know, mental exercise that I was doing.
Yeah.
That was a spiritual quest, right? So any of the political gains will not come into my sphere of my thinking. So I didn't give a fuck about Islamism or whatever, even if it was built during that time, because I was like in my head, in my journeys, you know, went through this Sufist phase as well and stuff, like, you know, listening to all the Sufi, you know, music and stuff like that, like, you know, gaining some sort of perspective through it, the poems and stuff. Islamism, as far as I understood it to be, it came out of Shia in Iran, and it's sort of like it is the Dawa version of Islam, right? So Dawa is that you spread the word of God by, you know, by talking about it and stuff, and like promoting it to other people. So Islamists hide between the Dawa boys that we have, right?
They're all Islamists.
Yeah, they're all Islamist. And Islamists are not
like
like
Ali Dawah and like
and they are also not all like Islamists are not all jihadis. They are not all perfect followers of Islam as well. So you would see people like in the media, women and stuff, like Pakistani women and stuff, who are working in a way, like you can see that they are working, they're mouthpieces of Islamists, right? But they're not wearing any hijab. Their life is not at all like that, because they are the political tools. Islamism is the political tool of Islam, of how to subvert our own liberal values and use them against us. How we get in through the back doors into the West, and how we conquer the West, right? Because we can't do it directly through jihad, right? Through war, because we are weak. So let's go through the back channels and become members of the society and stuff, and weave our way through it, because ultimately we will turn all of the world Muslim, right? That is the working of Islamism, right? But that is powered by Islam. It's not as if like we deal with the Islamist and the problem is solved. Because the same way, or we deal with the jihadis and the problem is solved. The more that you encourage people to go back to their religion, the more that you build their mosques, the more that you tell them, oh, you should know your culture and stuff, the more that we denigrate our own culture in Britain for their favor and stuff like that, the more it will make them naturally more jihadi and Islamist, because they're going to follow their religion properly. If they follow the Sunnah properly, what will it lead them to do?
Jihad.
You know?
Most people can't understand this though. I just sat down with a Muslim girl, and she said all the jihadists, basically, ISIS supporters, all these people, Michael Adeblajo, were either actors or totally mistaken. I know.
There's people like her that are mistaken.
That's what I tried to say to her. You're the one who's ignoring verses that I'm showing you. They're not ignoring it.
Yeah.
They're literally following it to the word.
There's nothing in Islam. You can't ignore things in Islam.
No, you can't treat it like a buffet.
The concept of metaphorical truths and edicts, separating them, that is within Christianity, that you can say like, maybe the flood of Noah happened or didn't happen, but what is the lesson that we learn from it? That is a Christian version of understanding things, right? And then you can take things from it, the lessons from it, and then you can sort of like, you know, in Islam it happened. It fucking happened, right? Muhammad went on a fucking winged donkey up to meet God,
We
right?
just had to
it
this.
happened.
Yeah.
There's he one day he was late for his prayer, so he looked at the moon and he did this and he split them. And to this day, you can see that split on the moon, right? They believe that.
No, no.
It happened. What the fuck are you supposed to communicate with these kind of people? You know, there is no laxity towards them, right? The moderates who do it, right? They say, oh yeah, it's just like, but what is it metaphor for?
Yeah.
There's no metaphor to pick over there. You know, there's no metaphor over there. He was late for his prayer and he like made shit up. He didn't probably pray because he was fucking his sex slave or something, and just like, you know, just made shit up. You know, and the biggest thing with Quran as well. So the Quran was written after the death of the Prophet, right? A lot of
how long
Shias,
after?
I can't remember.
200 years.
Yeah. I can't remember like exactly like. So a lot of Shias say that the Caliph who I think it's Abu Bakr or Umar Faruqi, I can't remember. Whoever it was who said like to write the Quran, he took out the pages from the Quran, and they are missing, which says like why should I have gone to Ali, his nephew
yes, yeah.
and stuff like that, because they believe in the bloodlines, like the Shias.
Yeah.
And he said like there's a conflict between them because of those reasons. But the thing is, it's not in chronological order when they compiled the Quran. It's not in the chronological order of revelation. They made it into surahs, into chapters and stuff like that. The Prophet used to just reveal, like, right? So he would have a fit or something, and then he would wake up and it's like, oh, this is the word. And someone would be writing, some would be memorizing every word straight away. And that's how you had, like, versions of Quran. And also, like, a lot of apologists or a lot of people who you might want to give a bit of leeway if they want to reform can say, like, yeah, that's why, like, all the things are wrong, which the Muhammad bin Salman is doing, right? That's why he's saying, like, hadiths cannot be...
this is a Saudi prince.
Yeah. Hadiths cannot be trusted because, is way after the death of the Prophet. So he's trying to separate the mania from the religion so that he can mellow it down, right?
He's trying to modernize Islam.
The only way is like, to do that from that sort of higher, place.
Yeah.
From a place of a king, a future king, to do that of the most important country in the Islamic kingdom, But when you read in the chronological order, the Quran stuff, it makes sense.
And this is abrogation, where abrogation comes in.
Yeah.
Because what Muhammad says later in his life supersedes what he says earlier.
Yeah.
So the peaceful, Muhammad at the start of his life was a very peaceful man.
He had barely any followers.
350, I think.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
Then
I think so lower than that.
Then he introduced jihad. And he basically told his followers, look, we're going to go into that town. You can take all their gold, you can take their women.
Yeah.
And
that was the thing, taking the woman.
Taking the women. And he recruited all the people who were already exiled, the criminals.
Yes.
It was all criminals he'd recruited. Right. And he said, lads, we're going to go in there, let's go get the women. And then he found a winning formula.
When you track that, it doesn't matter whether when you track that on every single dictator during the history of humanity, that is the winning formula, right? Every single one would do that. Get the criminals to do these things. Yeah. Genghis Khan would have done that, right? He's an example of, if Genghis Khan would have wanted a religion, it would be Islam, because it can promote what he was doing, right? Like the nomadic warrior sort of a thing, like, just warmongering sort of thing. Yeah. The funny thing as well is, like, if you see the life of the Prophet, the more that you look into it, the more shady it is. So his parents died when he was very young. He was orphaned, and then he was brought up by Bedouins, right? Already perked up my ears. So it was like, I've seen these Bedouins.
I know about you.
They haven't changed.
I know about you lot. I played football against them.
Exactly. and then when he was like young or something, he was 20 years old, he fell in love with this 40-year-old woman who just happens to be the most influential and powerful businesswoman of the whole of Arab. Fell in love, right? And then he starts trading for her. So he goes to different countries and he's trading and stuff. And these are the countries where he's picking up the stories from. So he spent 20 years doing this before all of a sudden he went to the cave and Angel Gabriel revealed himself, right? This was a 20 years in making sort of a thing for him. Because he was picking up the stories and stuff. He was pissed off at the Jews because they had too much control and stuff. And he was like, oh, how do I take control away from them? Or maybe if I am the Messiah that is told in their religion and stuff, then they will have to follow me and then I can get control. It's like a whole business thing, right? Yeah. People say like, oh, how can he make up this religion? He was illiterate. He was a businessman. He was trading for 20 years. It doesn't matter if he knew how to write or read or write, or who knew, like maybe he actually knew and he was just faking it. And then when you get on, like when he started this in Mecca, nobody like really liked him or anything. So he was very mellow and he told them like, oh, just believe like in indoors and stuff like that, Then when he was getting pelted and stuff by all the people in Mecca because he went and destroyed their idols, just to prove to them, I think so. Well, whatever it was, he ran away to Medina, right? Where the Jews in Medina gave him refuge. Within few years, all those Jews were dead.
Yeah, he took over.
Yeah.
Welcomed in as a refugee.
And that's where he started the whole of his
Jihad.
Yeah. And there's a very interesting like surah where the cousin marriage is also told, and sex slaves and all that stuff is told and stuff like that, where he wanted to get this woman from this Jewish tribal people or something, like she was very beautiful, stuff like that, and he wanted her. So that's where all the sex slave sort of surahs came in, right? And he wanted to divorce his wife, so a verse came in that he could divorce his wife. And I was like, how cynical. How cynical is this person, that before like an event is supposed to happen, all of a sudden, lo and behold, there's a verse and there's a surah come in that justifies him doing it. Imagine being his wife and he was like, having a spat with his wife, and the next day he's like, oh, Allah told me I should leave you. You're like, what the fuck, man? I can
have 3 more.
Right, yeah.
11.
Yeah. And that's the kind of person he was. And it tells you the kind, like, because he's praising himself.
You just said about cousin marriage. Explain to me about cousin marriage within Islam.
So I think so. There's a
and in Pakistan. Talk to me about Pakistan.
Okay, so we'll go on to Pakistan, so because that's interesting. Cousin marriage.
And how long did you live in Pakistan? From 15 till
24ish.
Okay, so
I came in UK in 2010. So, but it's like half a year and half a year. In 2000, half a year and half a year.
9.5 years maybe in Pakistan.
Yeah. So the cousin marriage thing, right? So there's a whole verse where it says who you can marry and who you can't marry, right? And within it says that you can marry your uncle's children and stuff like that, So it's the verse that is telling Prophet who he can marry and who he can't marry, right? So the thing is, most of the time, like the Quran would be saying what the Prophet can do, not what everyone else can do, but what the Prophet can do. But when you are supposed to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, because there's also a verse that says follow whatever the Prophet is doing. So obviously, whatever he's allowed to do, then you're.
So if he married his cousin.
Yeah.
Fair game.
Right. So if this is and on top of it, if it's something that the Prophet has done himself personally,
it's even more fair game.
Yeah, it's not just fair game. You are going to get rewarded more in heaven, right? So if he had a beard of a certain length, and so you should have a beard, right? So I remember when I was in Pakistan and we went and this, I was in college, and this was a defense authority college, like by the army people and stuff, like, and they wanted people to clean shave and stuff because it was the Pakistani army and they used to believe in those sort of values. It was like, no, well, are you telling me I can't have a beard? Are you going against the Sunnah? Right? So that's how they play each other and stuff like that. So if something a Prophet has done, you can't say no. Okay. You can't tell kids like to have short hair because the Prophet had long hair. So how can you do that? So if it says in the Quran and the Prophet has done it, that makes it doubly important for people to definitely follow it. And he married his cousins, right? He married his
which was another revelation.
Stepdaughter.
Which was another revelation.
Stepdaughter or?
Which was another revelation. It was his.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't allowed to, and then they.
Yeah, all of a sudden. Yeah.
You can now.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Because he liked it.
People need to understand this, right?
So Mohammed was. Really, he's like, yeah, I like her. I like my brother's daughter. I'll have her and all.
Yeah.
I like my niece.
Yeah.
So Muhammad.
But this is the thing people don't understand. It's Bible was not written by Jesus, right? It wasn't dictated by Jesus as well. So it's not the same thing. It's people who are writing the stories afterwards, right? And they're pontificating on it, they're thinking about it, and they're philosophizing upon it. Like, it's completely different matter on that case. Quran is a dictation of Muhammad during his lifetime, word to word.
Which is why it can't be changed. Not a single part of it.
Yes, and he was sitting over there and he was saying that Allah is saying that he can marry these people, that he can have sex slaves and stuff.
How does it look in Pakistan for cousin marriages? Is there a lot of cousin marriages?
65%, I think so.
76% in Bradford alone. In Bradford?
Yeah.
In
yeah.
Bradford, 76% of the Pakistani community are married to their first cousins.
In Kuwait, it's 55%.
In Kuwait, it's 55. Do you know what is the side effect of cousin marrying cousin, and then next generation, cousin marrying cousin? What does that do to your IQ?
It's like, it's a lot to do with IQ, because I think so it raises your chances of retardation by 400%. Medical term retardation, not like as if I'm being derogatory.
No, as in like below 69 IQ.
Yeah.
Is retarded. But
yeah.
free Pakistanis.
But also genetical diseases, cancer, genetical diseases, and so on and so on and so on. But genetical cancers.
So 3% of the UK population is Pakistani. 33% of child defects at birth are Pakistani.
Yeah.
So that's
not
UK.
A coincidence. Like
no, that's a high problem from cousin marriage that's being allowed to continue to happen.
But
did you see a lot of that in Pakistan? Did the families have disabled children?
No. Because I lived in Karachi, which is among the Muhajirs who are not like that.
Okay, so you're set.
These are the Punjabis. Remember, I remember when you tweeted like about the Pakistan stuff, and I was telling you these are not Pakistanis.
They're
Punjabis. They're Punjabis, right? So Punjabis are a huge problem. So this is why we should.
This is the grooming.
This is everything. Everything that is wrong
Terrorism,
with Pakistan is Punjabis.
It's Punjabis.
Yeah. Well, not everything. Balochis, Punjabis, all the tribal people, not the ones in the metropolitan area, right?
So where would most of America's immigration from Pakistan? You know, because
85% of the UK Pakistanis are Punjabis.
What about America? Because America has
that much.
No, because
I think it's the same, but not that high. Because a lot of Muhajirs, like a lot of my people, they go to America.
Because they're educated. Yes. Which is maybe why. Because I've always looked and never understood why, with the level of Muslim population,
they didn't want me to go to England.
But there's not.
Like, why the fuck are you going over there? Yeah.
Because there's not much problem, really. There wasn't in America, and then I put it down to the fact I looked and thought, well, to get in America, you've got to be highly educated, you've got to have money, you've got to have all these things. So which people in Pakistan have got all these things? It's not the Punjabi, it's not the...
Look at this, right? That guy from Reform Party, I really like him, can't remember his name.
Ben Habib.
Ben Habib.
Yeah.
Where's he from? Karachi.
Okay, so he's Karachi, your sect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? His dad is from Karachi. Right? It's a completely different thing. Where is Saeeda Warsi from? No,
she's a bit, because she's bad.
Fucking mental.
Yeah,
right?
she's fucking
Punjabi.
She's probably.
So,
okay.
Yeah, let's go into Pakistan. Like, what is Pakistan?
Yep, go on.
Right. So Pakistan is apart from it being a fucked up place, Pakistan is like built up of different ethnicities, right? So there are different ethnicities, different cultures, different languages. They're not different dialects; they're different languages. Right?
Because you just mentioned the Balochis as well.
So we have Punjabis, we have Sindhis, we have Saraikis, we have Balochis, we have Pashtuns, which are the Pathans that live in the top area. We have and their other 6% is other.
Okay.
Other ethnicities. There's people who are Parsi, who have come from Iran during the time when the Shah ran away. So there are a lot of Parsi people who believe in that fire worshipping Zoroastrianism, right? So they came to Karachi and they live among the Urdu-speaking people because we are similar in like our culture and stuff like that. Okay. You know, there used to be Jews as well in Pakistan.
Where are they?
In 1970s, they all went to Israel.
Were they peacefully living in Pakistan?
Yeah, before Islamism came in. Before the radicalization of Islam.
When would you say the radicalization of Islam came in?
1970s.
After the Gulf invasion?
Yeah.
Do you think it was at the same time?
No. It happened properly happened when General Ziaul Haq did a martial law and killed the Prime Minister, killed. He captured the Prime Minister Bhutto and had him hanged. After him came all the laws of Islamism.
Okay.
And he brought in Sharia law in the law. Before that, Pakistan Penal Code was based on English law and it was written in English. Even now, the law is in English.
Okay.
Right? But this was a war between Marxist and Islamist actually. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, he was a socialist. Right? He wanted to bring up sort of a Marxist socialist version of Islam into Pakistan.
Okay.
So this was an ongoing battle, and Bhutto, till that when he came, he wanted to. From a socialist party, People's Party, and he was nationalizing the whole of Pakistan. So in came this guy who fought in the what is called Black September in Israel when they fought against the Palestinians in Jordan.
Yeah.
Black October or September, I can't remember. Whichever, he's the general who at that time was major, I think. So he fought against the Palestinians, in the West Bank, because they were under Yasser Arafat. They were the Marxists who wanted to take over Jordan, and he fought against them.
Okay,
right? So when he came back to Pakistan, eventually he became the chief general of the army, the head guy, and then he did martial law and went against the Bhutto, who was a socialist as well.
And then implemented Islam.
Yeah. So it's sort of like if you want to map it in a way that what happens, same thing that happened in Iran as well, like, you know, how socialist and like these leftist thing that they can be in peace with Islam and bring Islam for their own goods, and how Islam ends up eating them. That's what's happened to Pakistan over the years.
Okay, so it's all the left.
Yeah.
All the left, all the socialists. And then what did the Islamists do when they took over Pakistan? Kill them all?
No. It hasn't been as like bad as that, because the socialists were not outright socialist in Pakistan. Like they were in their policies and stuff, and not everyone was like, you know, the Jinnah's idea of Islam was a more socialist Islam. It wasn't like you know, to be more like, you know, help people and stuff like that. That's what he wanted.
Okay.
But you know, it didn't come to power because there were feudal lords in Pakistan who didn't like that, who didn't like the idea of them giving up their lands.
Okay.
Right? Because they had like serfs and stuff. They still have that, you know. But so you have like all these different people. The languages that there are in Pakistan are Punjabi, Pashto, Sindhi, Saraiki, Balochi, Hindko, Brahui, and then Urdu. Urdu is the national language, but it is the mother tongue of only 8% of the people, who are the Mahajirs.
I didn't know that.
Right?
I thought Urdu was the mother.
Yeah. There's a lot of regions in Pakistan who don't know how to speak Urdu, so you can't communicate with them as a Pakistanis, right? So if I would go to a lot of places in Balochistan, they speak Balochi. Not many of them speak Urdu. In the tribal regions, we can't communicate. Sometimes I went to the north of Pakistan. In some areas, they were speaking English. They had no idea about Urdu. They were speaking their own regional tongues, right? And they are so different to each other that you can't understand it. You can understand the Punjabis and Urdu speaking people can understand very little bit, you know, but they can't completely. It's so hard. Like the language is completely different.
So the majority of Pakistani jihadists that we've seen in the UK, Punjabi?
No, but within Pakistan, you don't have that many Punjabis who are jihadists.
No.
They are more like, they're just tribal people.
Okay.
Right. The thing is, like, these people, like from Punjab, they're the ones that are coming from the tribal regions, right? Not from the metropolitan areas like Lahore, Islamabad. Those are okay, educated people. Those are coming from the tribal areas and stuff. They are just backward thinking people who would be told that this is what Islam is, so they just follow. Right.
Okay.
They come to England. They are so detached from their motherland. Right, from the culture, everything is so different for them. They have this guy who speaks Arabic or knows Arabic and stuff. All of a sudden, know he's God because they revere Arabs so much, right? And then they were like, okay, this is the Imam, or if the Imam is telling me to do this, so I'll do this. So they become pawns, right? It's not like as if they are jihadis. They're easy to become pawns for people who are jihadis and Islamists, and that's how they get taken advantage of. Most of the uneducated people, you know. And if you want to come to the educated side, like what the problem of education is, right? So the youth of Pakistan, within Pakistan, between the age of 15 to 24, and this is from UN sort of things, 64% of them live in the urban areas and 36 live in rural areas, right? 70% of them are illiterate. So 30% of them illiterate.
70%?
Yeah. But overall literacy rate in Pakistan, and literacy is just reading and writing your name, right? The literacy rate in Pakistan is 59%. 41% of Pakistan is illiterate.
Wow, and when someone's illiterate, they're very easy to control as well.
They have no idea.
No, because they're just getting told they can't read.
The metropolitan cities, why I say like people from, we can't just say like all Pakistanis are like that, because, you know, metropolitan cities, Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad, the literacy rate is 75% in comparison, right? There are some rural areas where the literacy rate is 9%.
Wow.
Right?
And the people from these areas are the ones that are in the UK?
Well, so what happened in 1965, Harold Wilson, the amazing Labour Prime Minister, he thought it would be a good idea to get 50,000 of these people from the Kashmiri, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjabi speaking people from these villages, get them over here.
Fucking great idea, Harold.
And say like, oh, you can work in we have labour shortage gaps, you can fill those gaps, right? These people, they had difficulty assimilating in the metropolitan cities of Pakistan. Imagine that.
And you're bringing them to Great Britain.
Yeah. Right? And people say like, oh, but that was a long time ago, or my parents were hardworking and blah, blah, stuff like that. It's like, well, the migration of the migration happened before that, because they could get British citizenship because they were part of the British Empire. That was a time of 1940s, 50s and 60s, right? There were people coming in, but they were usually coming, the educated class was coming in and stuff, right? They were fine, like Ben Habib's dad or whatever would have come in, or their grandfather, whatever. They would have come in during that time, right? Different class of people. And they were coming in drips and drabs, easy to assimilate, spreading out in places, right? But when you get these 50,000 people in and you tell them, like, okay, you're working in these industrial towns, and which were those industrial towns?
Dewsbury, Luton, Birmingham, London.
No, like where all the rape gangs are.
Because that's, okay, watch now, yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's where they went.
Went to Yorkshire for the beds.
Right. So all of these areas where they were all industrial areas, where they were like factories and stuff like that, because they needed workers.
Yeah.
They didn't think about getting workers who are actually close to the culture, because the labor don't think about these things, right? They thought like, bring these people in, they'll do our work, and you know what? They'll be our future votes, right? That's what they think. That's all they care about, right? And these are the people whose kids and kids and kids we are seeing exhibit these values, have high number of cousin marriages and stuff, because they have these backward ideas in their villages, which in Pakistan, in places like Karachi and Lahore and Islamabad, there's a lot of NGOs that are trying to reduce this, that are working against this. They are working against child marriages. They don't want it. They're telling people don't do it. They're telling people don't do cousin marriages. These are brave people within Pakistan, because, you know, the mullahs are against them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're saying like, no, you have genetical disorders. We are the doctors and stuff, and we have to fucking deal with this. So stop doing this, you know. So those are the people that were around me when I was in Pakistan. So I wouldn't have seen this around me.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend whose family was like from the villages area and stuff like that, but they were like a big name family, right? And they wouldn't mix with anyone else. So they were only married within their families and stuff.
Okay.
And I thought that was weird. Even
yeah,
I was like, that's disgusting. Like, what the fuck, man? You know.
Because you made these comments to me or you made these comments online when I was talking about the rape gangs. Because you said that many of them you believe they're from the uneducated tribal areas.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the culture there is very backward.
Yeah. So
the sons of them and their sons are the ones you believe we're seeing in...
Yeah, so the thing is, let's go on to the rape gang thing, right? Because mostly they are Punjabis, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just here. It's not just they're raping white women, right? In the first 6 months of 2023, 75% of the rape cases were from Punjab in Pakistan. 75% of the rape cases within Pakistan were from the province of Punjab.
Okay, so it's just normal out there to be raping.
They have tribal issues over there. Now, the thing that I might give it to them, because it happens in Sindh, tribal areas of Sindh and tribal areas of Balochistan as well. The only thing that I would give to the Punjabis is they're the ones who record the most.
Okay.
So their numbers might be high because of that. But it's a tribal area, and it's not like their cultures are different. But when it comes to this, it's pretty normal. There was a famous case when I went to the New Culture Forum podcast. I mentioned this as well, and I told myself I'll remember this case, but forgot to remember. There was a famous case of this woman whose brother was raped. He was 12 or 13 years old. He was gang raped in a field by these guys. And when he filed a case against them, the tribe said that boy slept with one of their women. Right? And they confirmed it. It's like, no, we know that, he's done it. And our retribution, or their retribution, their tribal retribution is if someone has done wrong to you, you're allowed to gang rape one of their women members, right? No relation, that woman just from that tribe, you're allowed to gang rape her.
Seems fair.
This is happening in the
Keep
rural.
the borders open.
You know,
boys.
most of the Pakistanis won't even know about these things.
Yeah.
Because Pakistan is so big, right? Well, how big is England? It's like 247,000 square kilometers or something like that. Pakistan is 887,000 square kilometers, right? For me to go from Karachi to Peshawar is like over 2,000 kilometers, right? From one city to like the top city, right? So you don't get these things. And then, like I said, like the language barrier and stuff, and you know, you're not getting the same news as the other province might be getting. Sometimes like, you know, it happens as well. But anyway, she went to fight her case in the tribal thingy, court or whatever, gathering for her brother, you know. And they said, no, your brother has raped our woman, now we're going to rape you. And they took her then and there. 8 of them raped her. They took her in a hut and they raped her over there, right? And they're seeing this as a cultural normal thing to do. Like, this is acceptable, right? Now, this is nowhere in Islam as well. This is my problem with cultural. It. There's a lot of cultural problems over there, which when Islam comes in and it has such beautiful things like sex slavery and stuff like that, it's just more of a push for them to be able to do it, right? She obviously filed the case. This is a very, very, very famous case. It was during the time of General Pervez Musharraf, who was the president at that time. After martial law, he became the president. He tried to hide that case as well because he was like, you're shaming the country and stuff. Everyone tried to hide this case, but it came out. I just keep forgetting her name, but it's like, it's a very famous case. Okay. Now, this is the case that has come out.
The 8 of them raped her in punishment for her brother.
How many other cases are there?
Yeah.
Right? There would be numerous cases because the thing is...
So it's normal for them to use rape as a punishment?
Yeah, within the tribes, right?
Within the tribes.
But the Pakistani penal code would say it's not allowed.
Yeah.
But
does that have any power in the tribal areas?
No.
No. It's down to the villagers.
Right? So, and now that when we get those people in from those areas into this country... Now the penal code is away from them as well, which they disagreed with anyways. They're going to find these opportunities to do these things because they are rapey men. You know, that's their culture. That's what they believe in. That it's okay to do that. And if they're doing it to their own women, when they come over here, they can use that as doubly, like, you know, include religion into it. And then justify it through religion.
Do you think it is justified? Do you think the reason the statistics are so high from the Muslim community, I think it's 80 to 90% of convictions of Muslim men. Do you think it's to do with the teachings of Islam? Or do you think it's culture? Because I've said sometimes...
It's culture more than the teachings.
Because I always say, look...
How many people from Dubai do you see raping people over there?
No. There are Afghanis, there are Iraqis.
Yeah, they're all impoverished areas. So it's not just like Pakistan, like it's a lot of Syria as well. So one of my friends, Antar Yasa, he has been suspended indefinitely by Twitter, right? He's a Finnish journalist. I think so. I told you about him. Yeah. And he was discovering these Islamists within Finland, and there's so many of them. There are cases of 5,000 Finnish girls being groomed by Islamists in Finland. Nobody hears about it. Majority Syrian and Iraqi men that they are getting, right?
So they've got Finnish grooming gangs, same as in the UK, in Finland.
Yeah, and they're coming through the route of Russia, which
Who
is
are? The migrants.
yeah. So what Russia is doing, what Russia does is they are taking these Syrian and Iraqi men because they want to destabilize
Europe.
Yeah,
And they're pushing them in.
So they drive them up to a 1 kilometer before the border of Finland, and then they push them over there, and then Finland collects them and accepts them. But the same thing that Belarus tried to do.
Could you put in contact with that journalist?
Yeah, I'm in constant contact with him because he created a different Twitter account.
Because
So
I went to Finland and spoke to people when they were. I think it was when that was starting to be uncovered in a certain town.
Yeah. He just won a case against the Finnish government as well. Because what happened was he revealed this. There was this toy smuggler who was smuggling money to ISIS back in the day. He revealed him. It's like he's taking our money and he's doing that. They caught him and they only jailed him for 2 years. But then that terrorist countersued my friend, saying that he defamed me, calling me an Islamist. I'm not an Islamist. And the Finnish government said, oh yeah, he defamed you. Pay this terrorist 10,000 euros.
Oh man,
He went through 7-year battle against this fucking Islamist.
So the Islamists probably had back in for the finances in order to cite. So they've targeted him.
They are fucking Marxist in the Finnish government, obviously the Marxist socialists who are in favor of these people. There is member of the parliament within their parliament or whatever they have over there who sent private jets without the knowledge of their security services to get the ISIS families out of Syria.
To bring them back to Finland.
Yeah, they were never charged, not one of them, with anything.
To bring them home, mad.
This is happening in Finland.
In Finland, of all places.
And
So you're...
I think so he's suspended because of the Finnish government. I suspect, yeah. Because he's revealing too much.
Too much.
And he has more popularity in Finland than their ministers.
So people will listen to him.
A lot of people in Finland listen to him.
So tell me, so you believe, so even there, Iraqi, Syrians, you don't believe the common denominator? Is
I'm
Islam?
not saying like Islam is good.
I know that.
I'm saying it's not Islam alone.
Okay, because it's a very, because I always say, can we at least explore? Is it Islamic? Is it Islam? But then a lot, that's what other people said, well, it's the culture, because their culture is so oppressive to women. Their culture is so dominant of women. So they take certain parts.
But you see Iranians, yeah?
Yes.
They don't do that much, do they?
I don't think there's any Shia gangs.
But not just Shia, like Iranian, like even if believing or non-believing.
The only Iranians I know that have come to UK, or that I know of, came to escape Islam.
Yeah. So that in that sense, I can contradict myself and say like any ex-Muslim would not do it. So maybe it is Islam, right?
Yep.
So that is an interesting
these are all
thought.
very
Like,
important questions.
It's so mixed, right? So
because I always say to stop it, you've got to understand it. So it's best to understand it from every avenue. If it's to do with poverty, ill education, mixed with Islam.
Yeah. It's just like it's a hotbed of bad ideas coming together, right? Islam itself does not lean towards saying don't do it. Islam is promoting it.
Yep.
Right?
Sexual slavery.
Justifying it and stuff. The thing is Islam does it
It's halal.
Islam does it while in war. But then if you think of yourself, especially what Islamists have done, that we are in war. We've declared war. We
so to
are
justify
in constant
it,
war.
House of War, House of God.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do, we're going to send our criminal sort of people who will groom these people and stuff like that. While maybe the other Islamists won't even do that. Right? The other Islamists might find it very disgusting to rape women.
Okay.
Right? So some jihadis who know the religion more or like are pretend pious or whatever, and the Islamist, they would find it disgusting to rape women. Right? But they're not going to stop the men from doing it or from them justifying it because they are their fodder. Right, so they can create these problems. If they go to jail, they don't go to jail. Doesn't matter. They're pushing the society.
Yeah.
Right, so there's that sort of a thing. Islam is only, I think so. Islam is only justifying it through the interpretations of these people. It does it during war, and it's like a So nothing. And we know that Prophet is sexually depraved person. You know, no normal person wants to marry a 6-year-old. No normal person want to marry their cousins. No normal person want to do all these things that he does, unless there's a sexual depravity. Right?
Do you worry about going back to Pakistan
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Could you go back to Pakistan?
I don't think so.
You think you'd be punished? As an apostate? You're an outspoken apostate?
Yeah. Yeah, I went in 2015.
You went to her?
2015
Okay.
I went. But I wasn't
To see family?
Yeah, but I wasn't. But most of my family lives in America and stuff as well now. I wasn't outspoken. I was, but I wasn't known.
Yeah.
Right.
Things
I was
might change
always
for you.
outspoken. Like I was in Pakistan, I was going to the mosque and telling them to leave Islam. So
You was what?
I went to the mosque sometimes, and I told them
Which mosque?
within Karachi,
In Karachi, tell them to
Yeah.
leave.
And I tried to convince a lot of people, and
Yes,
to be fair, there's a lot of atheists in Karachi.
Yeah, because
Education.
The girl who invited me to speak at Oxford University, you see the girl sitting behind me? She invited me to talk. She's from Pakistan.
Yeah.
She said, Tommy, there's a massive liberal movement in the youth of Pakistan.
Yeah.
And she said, you know what? She come
But
to
it
the
gets squashed every time.
because she come to the UK. She went to Manchester, the Muslim community. She goes, I had to run out.
She's
She's from Pakistan.
This is why, because I think so. She might have been from educated place.
Yes,
or from
because her family
Karachi
are very
or from-
wealthy. She was educated.
Yeah.
And she said she didn't wear the hijab.
Yeah.
She said, I've never been commented back home for not wearing the hijab.
No.
But everyone here is having a go at me.
Dude, in Karachi, I used to go on. We had I had Valentine's Day every Valentine. We celebrated Valentine's in Karachi, Lahore, in Islamabad. You know, you had girlfriends. Everyone had girlfriends and stuff. Everything was chill.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you just couldn't have sex with that woman, because otherwise you will have to marry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we did still. Who cares? But the thing is, the educated Pakistan is very different to the rest of Pakistan. But then again, the educated class is so low. If I was telling you a little bit about education, right? So if we go to the elementary levels, right? So the elementary levels, just the starting school, that's 70% of kids are going there. Middle school goes down to 40%.
Because they're going to work? Because they're women?
High school goes down to 25%.
Okay, so they're only going to school till they're 10.
Universities are impossible, then 19% or less than 10%. Right? So how that Pakistan is a population of 247 million as well, so you have to consider that. Right? Only 10
And 200 million in the main going to school.
and
after the age of 10.
only 10 million live abroad.
Only 10 million, but they're all here. They're all here.
Yeah.
They're in Luton.
This is why we used to make fun when I was in Pakistan. We used to
Only
make fun
10
of
million.
it.
Imagine when the other 250 come.
Whenever anyone used to come from England, and they were trying to impress us in Pakistan, we was like, fuck off, everyone is in England anyways, and we used to make fun of their accents, we used to call them inebrovs.
That's how they all talk.
That's what we used to call them. It's you guys are just, you think that you have the aesthetics of a country and you think you belong to that country then, but you have nothing of substance to say. There's no substance in what you're saying. You just think you have this weird accent that they have as well. Neither here, neither there. It's I can't even understand what they're trying to say because they're speaking in their mouth so much. It's
You're talking about education, whereas you're talking about university. You've got degrees?
yeah.
How many?
So
What have you got?
I've got a bachelor's degree in business administration. I've got a master's in creative writing and a master's in world history.
How long does it take to get a master's?
1 year? A
So-
professional master's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're very educated.
Well,
Where did you get those degrees?
Here.
And you
Apart
can-
from the bachelor's degree,
So
I
you
got
come-
that in Pakistan.
So you got your bachelor's degree and then you come here at 25,
Yeah, 24.
24 on your own?
Yeah.
Where did you move to?
London.
Straight to London?
Yeah.
To do what?
A master's in creative writing.
Oh, so you come to go to the
Yeah,
university. So you
yeah.
come in on one of the education visas.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to stop
But,
them. Not for gentlemen like this, yeah? Okay.
But that is actually a very good point, because what I saw,
How many people that come with you are actually coming for an education?
very less.
Was there lots of Pakistanis?
Apart from the people from Karachi, because they were actually going for education and then they were coming back. A lot of people go back to Pakistan because they are used to, not anymore. Now there's an exodus of educated people away from Pakistan because there's nothing left now. The inflation is so high, you can't buy anything over there anymore, right? But before, what I saw was happening, a lot of people would go to England, get education and stuff, usually went for their undergrad, 4 years, whatever, and then they came back to Pakistan. They had like their dad's business or whatever, or their own business they would start and stuff, or help the country. That was the whole point of it. But these Punjabis that were going over there, they were going for the benefits, and we already knew they were only going for the benefits and stuff. They had no intentions of studying. It's not just Pakistanis, it's the Indians as well. A lot of Indians do that.
Indian Muslims?
No. Indians, Hindus as well.
Okay.
So I saw a lot of these people who were coming over there just on the visa of education visa, low-level degrees and low-level colleges, right? Unknown colleges and stuff.
There's School of London in Luton Town Centre.
Something
what's this?
Within a house would be.
Yeah. So
right?
they've got them everywhere.
They never went to the college or stuff. They kept deferring. They would stay there for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, get enough money because they were sending all the money, and then they would go back home, right? So that's what they were doing. But I was always pissed off. I was like, I'm like, because they were telling me, you can do this job, this cash in hand, and that's like, dude, I came here to study. I didn't come here to do fucking odd jobs and stuff. I came here to study. That's why my parents sent me over there. Like, they didn't send me. I had to run away. So,
when you left Islam, is that why?
Yeah.
So that's why you left Pakistan. Because you left Islam.
Yeah. So I left Islam while I was in Pakistan. So
did you come here? So you come here on a student visa?
Yeah.
And then got full-time visa?
Yeah. So what happened was, I came to London.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
Why?
Because I was like, this is not England.
It's mental, isn't it?
And it was Walthamstow as well.
What was you expecting to see when you come to London?
To see English people. Dude, it's fucking London. That's your capital. I was like, well...
It's sad, really. I shouldn't even be laughing because it is sad as well.
But that's what I was saying, like, recently when I went on GB News, that's what I was saying, like, I felt like Paddington Bear coming to Paddington Station for the first time. And then everyone just moving past him. And he was, like, respectfully trying to say hello to people and nobody bothering with it. Because he was taught a culture.
That's not there.
That's why I came. Since I was young, I associated with Britain more than any other country. I didn't believe in Kuwait. I was like, it's a stupid country anyways, such low people. They don't want me, right? They're not giving me nationality. They don't want me over there. Their own people don't want to integrate with me into their culture, right? Then I went to Pakistan. I was like, well, this is even more shit because I cannot integrate with them. Like, I have to drop my IQ level to integrate with these people. I'm not doing it, right? And always throughout that, I maintained that I liked Britain because I liked the literature, I liked the media, I liked the whole culture and stuff. And it was so similar, like I told you, for Muhajirs, it's an easier match for us because our similarities are there. Even if you see like some of the Urdu, or used to be Urdu sort of media and stuff like dramas and stuff like that, or like whatever, like sitcoms or whatever, they used to be very educated like sort of jokes, sarcastic jokes, like black humor and stuff like that. Humor. Like you would know, like So I was always like, and I always admired Britain as well, right? So everyone in Pakistan hates Britain, right? This is something as well. Like I tried telling people, none of these Pakistanis, no matter what the generation, they hate you. They all fucking hate you. They still haven't forgiven you for crusades, let alone the colonization, right? Yeah. They still haven't, forgiving you for fucking crusades. They still bring that up, even though it's nothing to do with them, right?
Is that an experience? So growing up in Pakistan, you see that?
Yeah. They viscerally hate like the white people, the Goras.
Yeah, the Goras.
They hate them, right? Indians don't have that hate because, again, Even if we see like the elementary school or literacy rate in India is 75% compared to Pakistan's 59%, right? In Sri Lanka is 98%,
Okay.
right? So obviously there's going to be difference and stuff. But these people, like, not all of them, again, I'm not trying to generalize
of course.
Pakistanis, but the educated
Per
people
se.
would not, right? Yeah. So these people like hate this country. And I was like, why do you hate them? They was like, oh, they colonized us. I was like, and you fucking colonized India, right? The Muslims colonized India. You
Colonized a lot of
ruined their
places.
culture. You ruined their religion. You ruined their lands. Your own
Constantinople.
country, Pakistan itself, is on stolen lands. These are the
Baluchistan.
lands of Bharat. All of Pakistan belongs to India, right? So any Pakistani listening, go fuck yourself. It's not their lands, right?
No, so what are you moaning about Gaza for?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you moaning about Gaza for?
But the thing is, now that you have the country, build your own country then.
But they can't.
They just, every time anything that's wrong with their country is the fault of America, it's the fault of Israel. Always is Israel.
Of course,
It's Jews, it's the Jews, like, they done everything, they control everything, but still somehow get killed by everyone.
That's not just the Muslims now, though. That's like there's a big alliance going on between the real far right and them.
Well, America always had that problem.
Yeah, I
This is coming
know.
from
But
America.
it's here now.
The thing is,
I'm seeing a lot more.
Why it is here? It's here because of the podcasting world.
Yeah.
Since the podcasting became bigger and bigger and bigger, the American influence became bigger on intellectual level as well as the cultural level of England, right? Because we didn't have that much in Britain. We didn't have on cultural level, especially of the working class people. They didn't have the American influence.
Yeah.
But when their podcasting became bigger and their influence started coming, people like Jake Shields and all these idiots and stuff, right? They're complete idiots. They always had this though. They had this before the World War as well. That's why they didn't want to go into the World War.
In America.
Yeah. They always had anti-Jewish sentiments. It was bubbling underneath. And it just come up now. And you can see it. And I see it so much, like the hate towards you, Zionist. I was like, dude, it's so
and the hate doesn't come from Muslims.
No,
It's coming
it
from
comes
whites.
from,
It's coming from whites who hate Jews.
Yeah, but that's the...
Or who blame Israel for everything.
Yeah.
Zionism.
That's the thing, like, I always say, like, the biggest problem of Britain is actually not the foreigners, but the British who want to be foreigners.
What do you mean by that?
It's the British
The British who
people.
hate themselves.
Yes.
Which is allowed, because none of these, like, if we were a proud nation, we wouldn't allow any of this to happen.
Exactly.
Wouldn't allow any of it.
Right. So all these things that we're seeing, the high raise in immigration, Islamism, loss of
tolerate
family, these are all symptoms. These are not problems. We're going at them because they are so much dangerous, right? Especially Islamism. But they are symptoms. We can attack Islam.
Of a lost people.
Exactly. We can attack Islam as much as we want. It's, the head of the snake is going to come back in one way or another, in some other form.
There's a void.
If we don't know ourselves, we cannot defeat anyone.
If we don't know who we are or what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
Who are we? What is our culture now?
Exactly.
LGBTQ+? plus? I mean, what is it now? What has it become?
What is it? Kindness and tolerance. It's like,
Diverse.
fucking hell, just bend over then. Just
Diversity.
fucking bend over.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're doing. Might as well. You know, because that's what we're doing. Now, even like recently, when Lee Anderson has called out rightfully that, our liberal class still cannot say...
Our conservative government have got rid of him. Our conservative government...
Now, I am angry at Lee Anderson because, like,
Why?
look, you are not a commentator, you're not an activist or a commentator like us. We can say these things. You're a fucking politician. Have some tact.
Do you think he purposely did it?
No, because he's an idiot and he does that. You know, it's wrong. I think so. It's wrong to call him an idiot. It's not that. It's just that it's his style, right?
Well, it's his style to talk the truth, and I don't think that's a bad tact for a politician.
I think so.
To say how it is.
No, but it's like you have to be diplomatic.
As a politician.
Yeah, and especially
But is he not being diplomatic that's got us here?
Especially at this time, right? So you have a opportunity to pin the Labour Party, right? And the Islamist, and make sure that they don't win the next election. But you made it about Islamophobia rather than you take it away. It's like he didn't have to say anything. He just had to say, like, just look at the actions, what's happening. He didn't have to say that Sadiq Khan is actually allowing Islamists. He just had to say that Islamists have control of London. And Sadiq Khan is not doing anything about it.
Okay.
Right?
I think I was thinking the time for being tactful is gone.
No, for us, right?
Okay, I understand the point you're making.
You know what I'm saying?
I think there's a lot of people I think will be looking at what he said and think, well, about time someone said that.
Yeah.
Like Suella Braverman, about time someone said that.
Yeah, but like the way
Don't
that
be careful,
Suella
man.
Braverman said, she didn't pick one person
No,
like
no,
Sadiq
it's
Khan and
just-
stuff. She was more
But
tactful.
isn't it? Sadiq Khan is a problem then.
Of course he is.
Friends with all of them.
Of course he is.
Well,
But
tell me
the
when
thing
you-
is, we have trapped ourselves in our own liberal democracy.
But you can't say anything.
Yeah. So if we are going to have the democracy, then we have to have the tact with our ministers to be able to deal with this properly with the backing of the public.
Yeah.
Or let's do away with it. Let's have a revolution then. Fuck it.
There's one's needed, I think.
Yeah. Because if they're not going to go with us,
They're not going to deal with the problem, which they're not.
I've
instead.
recently written about this on my Substack, and I don't think so liberalism can deal with this problem.
You don't think liberalism can? What do you think could solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? Because I always think of that. I always think, if you think deeply about it, we've got a massive problem. We've got millions of Muslims here who follow Islam and watch Sharia. What are we going to do? What can we do without entire chaos in Europe? If you want to start removing them, mass deportations of people, it's not going to work.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It needs to happen.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
It's not going to happen unless we are in the system. I think so. I don't think so. This is a matter of fixing it in 1 year, which everyone wants to do it right now, because a lot of it is incentivized as well, because we have the eyes of the people finally on this, and we want it to happen.
The public
right?
are now awake. Yeah, it's coming.
I think so. It's going to take a while, because if we do it right now, French Revolution style, we will destroy ourselves.
Destroy our entire. The Europe will be destroyed.
Yeah, and we will destroy our culture. We will destroy our soul.
So how?
I think so. This is a long stage cultural movement. This is not going to get fixed by politics. The politicians, they have their own interest, right? And they have their interest groups who support them and stuff. We need to move away from politics completely. Let them fight it out, whatever they want to. Let's give our people, if we want them to fight, let's give them something to fight for first. Let's give them their identity. Right? Then the fight, then the desire, the fight, and the politicians that come out of those people are going to fix that problem. So
by reinstalling the identity of their history, of their what's gone
reconnect
before them,
with who they are,
how great we were,
yeah,
what we are.
You know, the bigger problem than Islam, in my point of view, is the Marxist and the communist, because they come from British on. They are homegrown. You can't deport them.
Yeah.
You need to change them. We need to change the culture.
How do you change the culture when the education system's so heavily dominated by Marxists?
So how many people live in UK?
65 million, they
Right.
say 70.
Do
Probably
you
more,
think
80.
at least 5 million out of them, which is like 7-8%, I think, would be patriotic,
Yes.
right? So
Patriotic, but now fearful and pathetic.
they don't have to do anything,
Okay.
right? Do you think? Let's try to see this. Do you think they would have 5 million people? Do you think they would have at least £1 a week to give to a cause?
They should. Well,
Right?
What are you thinking?
Imagine this, right? £1 a week, this 5 million give, right? We free one person.
We what?
We free one person from every sort of interest and stuff, and there you go, son. Have a say. You're free to do whatever you want. Say it. Move the culture forward.
What do you mean by freedom?
Free them from their capture. Free them from their capture of whether it's a professor, is a university, of a job, or any
free
other
them by
interest.
financially securing them.
Yes.
So that they can then be free to say what needs to be said.
In 1 year, you would have 52 people, 52 influential people like that in 1 year, right? That's just by not even giving them the full 5 million each, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So you could have, instead of having 50, you could have 100 influential, educated people.
Within a year, you
Patriot
move that.
people.
Now let's imagine this, right? Let's say we build a base. We say these are the areas, these are the villages and towns, and this is the county that is the most English, and where we can revive the culture from, right? We build the base over there. We create a physical structure, not just a digital structure, but a physical structure for people to see this is the new institution. This is the new British institution. And we call other podcasters and other people, influential people and stuff, who are with us in this cause. There you go. We're giving you space. You don't have to worry about your rental space and stuff like that. This is your space, right? Promote the things now. Make things. You create art, right? Create sitcoms, create dramas, create daytime TV, whatever the hell. Create documentaries and stuff for some people to get hope from, right? And we gather more and more. Now, if we are in this town, we're doing this, then we start influencing that town as well, right? Let's say
you have a whole vision and plan, don't you, Mo?
I'm telling you, like...
Isn't it mad that a Kuwaiti Pakistani's got this vision and plan of bringing back British culture?
Because I want to live here, man.
Isn't it mental, isn't it?
I'm trying to save this country
Do you
for
know what I mean?
myself
But
as well.
that's what I mean. Like,
But
you've obviously thought deeply about this plans. Carry on. Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you there.
This is the only thing that I want to do in my life, right?
Is this the only
I don't
vision
care
you see?
about my money. This is the only way that I think we can save Britain without breaking Britain.
Because you know what? At the minute, the people who have the arts, the people who have the culture war that's going on, are them.
Yes.
It's the Marxists.
Yeah.
It's the communists. It's the anti-British. The
creating
woke.
shit.
It's the woke. Yeah. No, they're not watching it. It's bullshit.
The only reason why people are going
And they're not
towards
fun.
them. Yeah, the only reason why people are going towards them because they're the only ones producing it. So we create a British Wire, a Daily Wire version of Britain, right? Where does all the art, all the beauty and everything of the West, the idea of the Western stuff is the strongest and have come from the strongest in the whole of the West. It is Britain. Then why are we looking at other countries to fix us? Why are we looking at American stuff? I don't care about Trump. I like him. But fuck Trump, right? Fuck Putin, fuck Trump, fuck EU and stuff. We have to build ourselves. And we have to be the hope for West, right? So let's imagine this. It's just 5 million people, right? Out of 65, and I think so we can find 5 million people who are concentrated. Stop giving to other political parties. Stop giving your money to Tories and stuff like that. Just stop it. They have their special interest.
Fund the culture war.
Special interest groups, yeah.
Fund
They
the
will
culture
do
war.
it themselves anyways, right? There's no point, like the only point of political parties is go to local councils and local elections. Main elections don't matter to us right now. Main elections will matter to us 5-10 years down the line when we have fixed the culture, right? So let's imagine now, right? These 5 million people giving £1 a week, right? Maybe they give an extra £1 a week, right?
Some will give a tenner, some will give 20.
We can, every week, we can give 100 young couples £50,000 each towards their home, towards their deposit for the home and set up their homes.
When you say
100 people a week is 5,200 young couples a year. We can enable the British people to have kids, to have families. They have a buy-in then. And it's just from 5 million people giving just £1. Fuck the government. They're never going to give to social housing. And imagine that. Now, we are saying like there's some towns, right, in this council, in this county. We're only doing it for them for the start. In the first year, 5,200 of their young families. These are future supporters as well, right? This is creating a stronghold that this is England.
And encouraging families and...
How quicker, like when people, because it takes a year, right? When people see it, when people see the vision being displayed, people having fun, like we making videos and stuff as well to show people like, you know, that this is how Britain is. others would want it as well. How much more can join us, right? And then we go to that inflection point where we have enough to take over the whole of England then, right?
I was on a mission, bro.
Like culturally, like I'm not saying like as a king, but
as
like
a
culturally.
total culture war. You're on about funding and organising a culture war to influence the next generation.
Yeah.
But influence them with pro-British,
Yeah,
pro-British
we not
identity.
even forcing anyone and stuff. We're just saying we're taking care of our own. That's the only message that we're taking care of our own.
And what do we say when we mean our own? How do you in your vision? How do you separate that in a town? Is that
So I don't
is that
believe.
based by religion? Is it based by colour?
No, I think so. Religion has a play in it, right? So I do believe what Calvin Robinson says. I
brilliant,
think
Calvin.
so. The only thing that can save the West, and like a lot of atheists disagree with me. They would like say like I'm batshit crazy about this. The only thing that can save the West in that sense is Christianity.
It's Christian identity, or
Yeah. It's the concept of Christianity is so interlinked with the Western idea and the British Western.
but that would mean that would need a whole
careful.
revolution of the church, because the church is pathetic.
So we have to be careful not to lean to like this is why I say I don't care about America and all the other countries, because they have their own problems. Their Christians come with the Christian nationalist problem. That ruins Christianity. When you mix religious spirituality with state structures and governance, that's just a ruin, right? Their Christian nationalist, that is a psyop, right? That's a weird place to go into, right? So we have different version of Christianity, right? But we are not even forcing Christianity on people. We're saying like
We're just going for the
British
Christian
traditions,
identity,
British traditions,
Christian traditions.
culture and values,
Yeah.
right? We're establishing them. And when you said about church, right? If we are getting money from these 5 million people, do you not think we can build a church in every town?
Create hundreds of Calvins.
Yes. Yeah, what he said,
Calvin
like,
can lead it. It's Calvin's crusade.
Like if we say, like, if he's into Anglo-Catholic churches and
Yeah.
stuff, and if he thinks that that's the best church, and if we think, like, people think in the organization, okay, that's the best church to go to, we can build a church every town, and that church will be fucking filled with people, man.
Yeah, because they'll be in touch.
Yeah. And then what? Then it's like a revival, and people are taking care of that church. We make sure, like,
How do you solve the problem of the growth of Islam? I know you concentrate on ourselves.
that's how it goes down itself.
Because people become so proud of what
Yeah.
their identity is.
Yeah.
They're just thinking
because
we ain't
you know,
having this
like
here.
when it comes to policy, what needs to happen is nothing. We just need to stop giving them any spatial preference, and it makes it difficult and more difficult for them to live over here. We say like, because we don't want like violent revolution and stuff, because that destroys us, right? Simple way is like to make their life difficult in a way that you can live over here if you follow our laws and our traditions and stuff.
Yes, Sharia is not wanted.
Nothing of the
If you wish to
sort of
implement
Sharia is
Sharia,
wanted.
and many of them have dual nationality, if it's
No
problematic.
dual. I hate dual nationality. I hate dual nationality.
What's your nationality?
British.
No, you're British. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
British one.
yeah. So I want to give back my Pakistani passport, but I can't go into Pakistani embassy because I'm kind of hesitant going into the
Do you want me to go give it to
consulate.
him? Okay, Mo said, "Fuck off."
I haven't renewed it like since 2016 or something.
Interesting discussion, Mo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But you see, like,
gone very-
what is the problem with dual nationality as well?
Well,
How can you be loyal to two kings?
but they're not. They're not loyal. They're loyal
They're
to
not.
Islam, Mo.
They're not.
The passport doesn't matter. They're never going to be loyal to Britain.
No.
Islam, Islam, Islam.
Exactly.
They know that. We know that.
Yeah.
Some
So
of you
we-
moron lefties don't.
But that's the thing, that those things that we are talking about, the policy and stuff like that, they won't happen now. But if there is a cultural movement, and if someone has it, I'm with them then. If someone has the resources to implement my vision, which can be people's vision and stuff, obviously, like, you know, amended and stuff, then I don't care about anything else. I'm in that complete zone, because for me, that is the only way we save Britain, through cultural movement.
I
Because
think it's
out
brilliant
of
to
those,
sitting here listening to a creative Pakistani
because
come
out
up
of
with a
out
vision
of out
saving
of that,
British culture that all of us are sitting there not having any idea about. Because I've thought, how do we solve this problem?
because
and I've always said, if
you
we
talked about going to the streets in London, yeah,
Yeah,
protesting.
bad idea.
bad idea.
Dude,
You were doing that 15 years ago, and if you're doing that still now, that means it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what the problem with that is? People don't see your evolution then, right? People say, oh, that's what all he does, right? That's what he was doing 15 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. That's all he does. That means there's no hope for this movement because that's all you can do. People, so people to have hope, because a lot of people look up to you. So people to have hope, they need to see you evolve into something a lot more than that. There's other people who can do it, and there's other people. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. We should do it, but there's other people who need to lead that. And you need to do something more.
I'm fed up watching Hamas and I'm fed up with the police response and just thinking.
I know, it's frustrations.
For 4 months, there's been no opposition to these terrorists.
Yeah.
And when there is an opposition, the police will stop them. Because if there was an opposition of English men on the streets, then they've got something more to think about.
Yeah.
They don't want us there every week.
But then Englishmen have to do it, right? It doesn't have to be you. You have. The thing is, like,
people need someone to lead them.
Yeah, but people also need to see a vision. People
you've just laid down a pretty strong vision, Mo.
Just imagine if people see even one town having this. We build schools as well. We built fucking thousands of Michaela schools all over the UK then.
Thousands of what?
Michaela, like that, you know that woman, Birbal Singh.
Oh, yeah.
She has that school in London, right?
Yeah.
But we build it for English kids, like. But that's a school teaching kids properly and producing good students and stuff. With the help of just 5 million people, we can do that, because the vision of that is not to create wealth for oneself, right? Because the problem that I see with a lot of these people who are talking about this issue is they just want to create their brand.
Everyone's fighting for their own space.
That's what they're after. They create a brand, and they might move to America then, like if they become too big, or they will fight for Britain. They'll just fight for it, but they're only half-hearted over there because they're making money from it, right? Because right now, if you say these things, people are going to capture more. You're going to get more money from Twitter, from YouTube and stuff like that. You create your brand, right? So, but you're not really changing anything. I don't care about brand. I don't care about even like that much about politics. I've always said like I've been saying it for a while. I don't care about political left. I don't care about political right. I care about being politically British, right? And that involves anything that is in our favor, wherever that idea comes from. If it furthers the cause of British people improving, finding their national identity.
Because we've lost it. I went to Poland and I was interviewing Polish people.
My wife is Polish. I forgot to mention that.
Okay, I see. Yeah. I see she was.
Yeah.
Because I went there for their Independence Day.
Yeah.
And when I went there and I interviewed the elder Polish people who have lived in England.
Yeah.
And they said, your elder generation, they know who they are.
Yeah.
Your new generation, they have no idea.
No idea.
Lost.
No idea.
That's been purposely orchestrated, though, I believe. To create a generation of lost individuals without identity, because then they're easily controllable and they're not going to fight.
But you know what? It is, but it's our own fault.
It's our own fault for letting it happen.
Because you know why it's important for people to notice that or to understand that's own fault? Because then you have the control to change it. If we keep on saying it's the other people who are doing it, it's these cabal of elites and stuff and they are doing it, right? We don't have control then. We're giving up control. It's like, whatever you do, they're always going to fuck you up then, right? But if we focus more on it's our fault, that means we can fix it.
Well, now I'm interested. You've wrote 2 books as well, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they're novels, because I write fiction, yeah.
Okay.
That was my interest.
So you've got lots of different interests, yeah?
But that, like, I always wanted to be a writer.
BA honours, yeah.
I mean, my interest was always like in fiction and stuff like that, and I love
just out of curiosity, what are your fiction books about?
Well, the first book that I've written, which I actually don't like personally myself for some reason, it's called The Silent Betrayal. Yep. It's people will read it and they won't associate with me because it's from a very liberal mind.
Okay.
It's about this guy who's like super rich, finds out his dad was a Nazi, and he's trying to discover his father's past and stuff like that. But he's like a wealthy billionaire, so he's not really a good guy and stuff like that. And then there's a woman that he likes who might be his sister. Right.
Might be his sister. Sounds like Mohammed.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on.
So it's sort of like I never, like in my stories, I never used to have good guys. Like, you know, they were always like fucked up characters and stuff. But that was my the recent story that I'm writing, the recent novel that I'm writing is called Insan, which means human in Urdu. It's not written in Urdu, but it's sort of like about this terrorist, actually, who's trying to get out of terrorism. Because in his mind, he's come up to the point, it's like, what I'm doing is bad. So the whole story is in his mind, and every character that he's interacting with are different sides of his personality, basically.
Okay,
And he's trying to convince
arguing with
himself, like, sort of a thing. Yeah, but that was my interest.
That was your passion.
Yeah, till 2 years ago,
What changed 2 years ago?
I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh wow.
So I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was sarcoma, which is not genetic, so no cousin fucking in my family. But it was it's a sort of a muscular thing. Like, I have a whole dip over here. Like, you know, they took out the whole thing. So I had the surgery as well. They took out the tumor, but it's been 2 years. It hasn't come back.
So you're waiting to be in remission.
Yeah, another 8 years till it's like completely gone. But the good thing is it's not coming back. It's been 2 years.
Not got secondary.
Yeah.
And what did that change for you? How has that changed your mindset? Up until 2 years ago, was you not as interested in British culture? Was you? Not?
Oh, I was always very connected.
What set you off now? Because as you said, in the last 3 months, your profile, you're there, you're talking, you're very vocal.
My main focus is my wife. Right, I love her very deeply, and when that happened, my first thought was, how am I going to take care of her?
How long have you been with your wife?
We've been together for 13 years, and we've been married over 10 years.
Since you come to the UK?
Yeah, a year after I met her. I was going to leave, actually.
You met a Polish girl?
Yeah. You know, I was actually going to leave. I forgot to tell you that. Like, after 8 months of being in London, I moved out of London and went to Essex. And I was like, I don't want to, like, this fucking fucked up, this country. You know? I can't see any English people anywhere. The culture is like, what? Like, these people with their trousers on their knees. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know, they're fighting gang wars with Asians and blacks and stuff. What is this? And like, with the way that they were speaking, I was like, what are you speaking? I can't understand you. What is this? What is this language? You know?
Culture.
The grime or whatever. It's like, fuck off. Like, this is not English. You know? So I was like I was like, fuck it, like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. But I was working part-time because I was still a student, and you could only work 20 hours. And I was very conscious I'm not gonna break any rules and stuff because I like this country. So I was only working 20 hours. I was working in Pizza Hut, and she came on our uni break from Poland to work, like, you know, how Polish people used to do it. I'm gonna work in uni break and then I'm gonna go away. She never went, and I never went away because we met. And we like got together straight away.
You've been together for 13 years.
Yeah, and it's strong because, like, I wasn't that sort of a person.
What do you mean? What sort of person?
Who would fall in love?
Okay, you hadn't fell in love before.
I had, but that was like fake love. Like, you know, this was like when I saw her, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, fuck.
It's love at first sight.
Yeah, I was like,
love or lust? Love or lust?
No, it was love. It was like, she's going to be my wife.
Oh wow!
I was like,
what's her name?
Adita.
Adita.
Yeah, and
where's she from in Poland?
Szczecin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to Berlin for Germany. So.
Did you have children?
No.
So you get to.
So when I was diagnosed with it,
yes,
that was my whole concern as well, and I was like, well. How do I secure a future for her? How do I make sure she's okay? But also at the same time, I love Britain a lot. Like, people might think it's fake, whatever. They don't understand it, right? I don't have a home apart from Britain. I don't consider any place a home.
You've probably been less lost for identity yourself, being a
I was lost
Pakistan.
all my life.
Okay, yeah.
Till I
searching.
Came here and I found it, and that's why I was
Once you got out of London.
Yeah, the thing is, even in London, that's why I was getting angry, because I was like, this is not
My London.
Yeah.
What I've seen is
Yeah.
London.
This is, and I was thinking, this is not my London, because this is not the London that is supposed to be. This is not my Britain, right? There's something, that's why I wanted to fight for it. And that was also the point of me thinking, like, you know what, I can't wait till tomorrow, because anything can fucking happen. If I think that I have anything to give of value, it has to be now. I need to stop being shy about it. If people think I'm an idiot, they can think I'm an idiot. If they think that I'm just bullshitting and I'm just like talking crap, they can think that. But I need to get my message out, because I need to save this country. I cannot, God forbid, if I die within the 6 months, I would be more aggrieved knowing that there's no future for this country.
Well, and 2 years ago, after your diagnosis, this is when you started speaking more.
Yeah, more
talking
and more.
up, which has now excelled recently.
Yeah.
Well, people have seen you recently,
Yeah.
and listened to you recently.
Yeah. So
I knew you was educated, because I listened and read, and I thought it culturally very, and I agreeing with everything you said, really, when I started looking through your socials. But more interesting than I thought when I was sitting here. It was a very interesting story. An interesting vision, because I always say to people, what are we going to do? Mass deportations. What are we going to do? Ban Islam, ban this, ban that. What are we going to do?
It's reactionary, right? Like we have to create.
Have you heard of Generation Identity?
Yeah, yeah.
European group. So they focus on themselves.
Yeah.
So I remember listening to them at times thinking, they focus on who we are. What are we good at? What's great against our culture? Not what's bad about them.
Yeah.
What's bad? It's more, this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
That we need to focus on that a lot. 90% has to be focused on that. And the 10% is like, I react. But if you've seen my tweets, my reaction are like pretty long, because I'm giving a lot of context and stuff like that, right? And people need to see.
What's your Twitter handle?
The World of Momus.
The World of Momus.
Yeah, that's my podcast as well and everything. Yeah. And people need to, I just think people need to see what they can have. And we can't expect people to fight unless they know what they're fighting for, right? That recently when it happened, and the government was saying, if we have to fight Putin, we'll have to conscript, right?
Yeah.
And you, including myself, like, go fuck yourself, basically. I'm not fighting for you. If they come over here, I'll defend my country, right? With my fucking life. This is the only country I will ever fight for anyways, right? I never, like I said, like when the Pakistanis were saying about, these are colonizers in Britain and stuff like that, I used to always tell them, like, that's a little tiny island, and it whooped your ass.
Whooped the world's ass.
Exactly. You all should be ashamed of yourself rather than being, hateful towards them. They've done something great, right? And everything in the modern world that comes from that time. Everything that we have, industrialization, the modern way of life, the modern way of thinking, it's all coming from that side. But apart from that, like, we have to connect the people of this country with that feeling of not being ashamed of yourself anymore, or not being proud in a sinful way,
but being proud in a proud way.
Yeah, being just acknowledging that there is greatness behind you. There's people who have discovered things. There's people who have invented things. There's people who have like given the language to the rest of the fucking world. Everything. These are your forefathers. How can you degrade their value
to wearing
by thinking
these talking like you're African and
exactly by thinking this goat fucker that's coming over here from a backward land, his culture is better than yours.
Converting to that?
Fuck off.
What do you think of converts?
They're idiots. I think so. They're lost. They're lost sheep. But the thing is, and he has excelled that as well, right? This is what a disagreement I have with him. It's like, I understand his message about men being more men, right? I'm guilty of that myself. Like physically, I need to lose some pounds myself, right? But I don't think so men need to be pimp as well.
Yeah, I understand.
Right?
Yep.
I don't think so. That's a good example of a human being. And then that person obviously is going to convert to Islam. Why not? right? You like pimping, you like fucking girls, you like materialistic things. Obviously, you're going to find a powerful religion that has no spirituality, that is only concentrated towards material things
And power.
and power, right? And now our kids, because I travel on the bus a lot, and kids 14, 15 years old listening to him
I know.
fucking pisses me off. Because they're talking to him or like talking about him as if like he's something great. It's like if that is your view of the world, that you're putting your cars and your houses and your money over your spiritual need, over your country, over your family, over the human connections and stuff.
But there ain't many.
You're lost.
The connections now are all this.
Yes.
They're not. There's,
Yeah,
it's this.
which is
They're
why
lost
I
in
come
this.
back to it. Like the only way to save Britain, to save the West, to save the Britain, to save everything is a cultural movement. And a cultural movement, a lot of people are doing it, like or trying to do it. It cannot be digital. It cannot be just digital.
That has to be.
It has to be
Togetherness,
physical. It has to be
people.
the institution as well that people can see. A building. This is our new BBC. Like, you know.
Yeah, this is our new media.
Exactly.
Studios.
Yeah, it is an institution. And then
See,
we
why
do
don't we have a
community
George
programs.
Soros? They've got a George Soros. Just funds it all.
But our people can fund it ourselves. We don't even
Yeah,
need a
neither.
backer. Like I'm saying, just by 5 million people
Yeah.
donating £1 a week, which is nothing, it's fuck all.
I know.
And it's just 5 million people. Even with that, my vision can change whole towns and villages. Right? Imagine if 30 million
I
people
hope
are
someone's
into it.
watching this and listening to this.
I want to. The main reason I wanted to talk to you about was not Pakistan stuff. We both know it's fucked up. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
go in more in detail as
No,
well.
this is far more interesting anyway, because we've been sitting here at the start,
Yeah.
really going in the negatives, which we need a
Yeah.
positive vision.
I mean, I'll probably make a detailed episode separately anyways about Pakistan and stuff, like people can go over there and
Yeah.
like do that. But I wanted to talk to you about the vision, because a lot of people take inspiration from you, right? What you do matters. If you're just going to be reactionary, they're just going to be reactionary. And if there's going to be a stumbling block and we're not going to go anywhere, then this movement is going to go towards ethno-nationalism. And
You think it's heading towards ethno-nationalism? You can see the rise of
It is.
ethno-nationalists.
why?
The
Because
blame,
people don't have any vision.
yeah, and they're blaming everyone.
Yeah, they're blaming me.
They're blaming you.
Yeah, I had like a lot like, yeah, you're the problem, get out of the country. I was like, dude, I will, if you want me to, but
But I'm not the problem.
yeah.
It's like I had this with some I had the IQ argument, and they were going about.
Yeah,
Like,
blacks have less IQ.
I
And
said,
so I was like, oh,
my black mates are well
fucking
more
hell.
educated than you, bruv. Earning a lot more money than you, much more successful
Yeah.
than you. What are you talking about?
But
But
the
they don't know. They don't know because they're not from somewhere like where I'm from.
But they
can't
see things and they react and
I
they
just get
see.
told I get called a race traitor or a Zionist or work for Israel, but why aren't I attacking the Jews? And
Yeah.
I just.
But this is the thing, this is the problem, because the oldest way that human beings used to organize themselves was by ethnicity. Because it wasn't by choice, it was just that, because that's how our
so you
tribes
see
were.
that ethno-nationalism will rise if there's
Because
not a
that's at the core of every human. It's the easiest solution,
yeah
right?
to divide.
But it's not a solution, right?
not gonna
We've
solve-
seen
it's
it
not gonna
played
solve
out
Britain's
before.
problems.
It's never been a solution, right? Unless we lean on the British traditions and say we need to go back to traditionalism. Fuck conservatism, fuck liberalism, because they all are going to converge anyways. They are against each other, right? Liberalism and conservatism. They
They're not even
don't.
conservatives though. The UK, they're not even conservative.
Even people who are like say that
Yeah.
they're just gonna fight each other, right? They're going to converge at one point, and we've seen it now. The conservatives and liberals have become one because that's
Same.
what's up. We need to go to British traditionalism, the traditions of this country, of the different peoples of this country, right? The different from different areas of England, from Wales, from like the old Celts, like, you know, we need to bring all of those up and, you know, and then revive it, and codify it, revive it.
So you don't see political, you don't think it's political, the future?
Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen.
You stand up
Yeah.
from some place, you're going to win. What's that going to achieve? One person in parliament, now they have a target, and they can say, now we can berate him, and we can completely bury this whole movement as a far-right movement, because he's already proven to be far-right by everyone's eyes, right? The truth doesn't matter, right? You've already been proven to be that. Easy target, get rid of him, right? But if you have a cultural movement out of politics, where their votes depend on it.
Yeah, because then you start having the sway that the Islamic community have got for votes. They're deciding.
Yeah, but
50
there are
seats.
more of us than more of them, right?
Of course, yeah.
We will then have a lot more, but we'll
have a lot more sway than
we'll be doing
It's
our
a vision,
British
yeah.
we'll be
It's
doing
a
our
vision.
British dawa. You know?
Yeah, it's a vision, yeah.
Yeah, but we have I don't see any
It's
other
our
way.
Islamism.
Yeah. Yeah. Our jihad. The British jihad. But dude,
I've been on that for 15 years.
because nobody cares about people as well, right? In this way, nobody cares about the elites or a lot of people in the movement. They don't care about you as a person. They care about the Tommy Robinson, right? That's not you. That's become a movement.
Yeah.
So where you take that Tommy Robinson is where the future will go for those people, right?
Yep.
They want you to keep on fighting, even though in the streets and stuff like that, even though that's come at a big fucking personal cost to you. How many of them care about that? How many of them care about the fact that you had to break up with your family to protect them? Right? You had to go to prison. What is going to happen if you keep on doing that? Again, you're going to go to prison. Again, you're going to... Because they're going to keep on...
4 weeks.
Right? So it's sort of like, okay, you want to continue doing that, then you have to find other people to do that, because they can't say everyone is Tommy Robinson.
I understand what you mean. If you've got a movement, it's a cultural movement, and it's not
Yeah.
to do with opposing anything. It's a lot more easy for people to join and support as well.
Yes, and because there's a lot of people in Britain, they are liberals, right? They're
And
liberal-minded.
people want to be activists. People want to be active. People want that community.
But they don't
Community's
want
been
to.
broken.
They don't want to fight in the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
No. Well, Mo, that's been very interesting. You get me thoughts of a vision now that I had never thought of or had. I always used to think it was about stop it. Well, anyway.
I've been writing it up in my own time and
I
stuff.
can see.
I'm just
I can see you.
I'm
What have you got, a 10-year plan?
focused. Yeah, that's why I've been trying to tell people, it's like, I really don't care about my brand. I don't even care if you know my name or not, like anyone. I just want this to happen, because that is going to be...
You believe this is the way of saving British culture
Yeah.
and identity.
And if I can do anything in my life, I would rather have that. I would rather have that I played a small part in saving this country and making sure that it gets back to being Great Britain and remains that for another 1,000, 2,000 years.
Yeah, it's 1,000 years of history and we're losing it right now.
I can't tell you how much it pains me.
Everyone knows it's going as well. Everyone knows we're at a low place. Everyone knows we're under attack.
But people have given up.
Yeah.
There's no vision.
There's no
we
vision,
can't keep on reacting. We can't. I don't even want to react on social media anymore, or a lot of things, because it's I'm saying the same things.
Yeah, the same thing. I always saw my position as to try and awaken people. I thought I may not be the person who solves it, but I hope I awaken the next person that does.
I know. That's a difference
I use
between
my journalism
people,
and videos and content and discussions to do that.
Yeah, because you have other people as well who are posting the same of your stuff on their own podcasts and stuff, and you don't mind that because you want the voice out there, right? And if someone who was more concerned about the money, who would be like, no, it's like I'm gonna earn it, so you're not gonna allow that. So I can see why you're doing it as well, is to awaken people. But I think so. The best way to awaken people is to show them. It's a show and tell thing. You show them. You build a town in that way, in the image of Britain. Build more and more towns like that. They influence them. Yeah, people go over there just like to drive past or whatever, and they're gonna see clean streets, happy people. Every young couple in that place have a home.
Either that or it'll be a terrorist attack.
Yeah. But then
Tommy's town.
But then it's your town, right? It's your town. You have influence on who is buying the houses as well.
Yeah. People with their people who would want to come in. Yeah.
You make sure it's like we aren't selling the houses to certain odd sorts of people and stuff. We have our own neighborhood watches and stuff.
Your council gets it's to take over councils.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, once people see this, I think so once people see this, they will understand that this can, because people need to see that it can happen. People are so demoralized right now.
I think with the new Argentinian leader who just took over, people are looking, thinking, well, he's solving problems there quick with socialism.
Yeah, but they have a different culture.
Yeah.
And the thing is...
But they haven't got the culture attack with that. Theirs is a political issue.
Also, there was someone saying, economic. Like, we need a Millet type of, like, I think it's Millet or Javier, right? Javier, let's say Javier. Him. We need a leader like him. And I always said that we can't have a leader like him unless we have a people like them.
Yeah, they're people already.
Right? We have a lot of Javiers in this country. We do have a lot of Javiers in this country.
But the people ain't ready.
People are not ready. People are not going to be ready. Two things. Either you can awaken people or you can push them to the extremes that Argentinian people have been pushed towards.
Due to the breakdown of their economy, due
exactly.
to the failed policies.
So do we want people to suffer immensely?
I always say the situation's got to get so bad before it gets better.
Yeah.
People are going to have to see so much more blood.
But even if the situation is getting bad, but we are reviving the culture.
No, I like your cultural war idea. Mo, it's been very interesting, man.
Thanks for having me.
Who would have thought on Tommy Robinson's Silence podcast you would hear from a Kuwaiti Pakistani with a vision to save British culture? Interesting, man. I'm going to sit and think about it all. And I thank you for your time, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. I wish that all immigrants that come to the UK, my mother come to the UK and put in and loves this country like it's her own, even though she's Irish. And many of to the ethno-nationalists or the genuine white supremacists, many of the people who have come to the UK come and embrace it this way and love our country. So
my Polish wife drinks milk tea, and Polish people don't drink that. Yeah.
You're a credit.
She loves it as well.
You're a credit. So thank you, bro. If you're watching this, I enjoyed that. Again, I enjoy all these discussions. I thank you for supporting my work. You give me the opportunity to have these discussions. These discussions can make people think, could maybe even create a vision for someone sitting watching who sees a vision or a future to help save Britain. So thank you for taking the time. Like, subscribe and share my content with everyone, because censorship, they bring in censorship to try and silence us, but to silence you as well. Thank you.
Carry on watching for more interesting guests. I'll talk to anyone. I'll debate anyone. I'll hear anyone's story. If you want to help me along that way, it's not free. I need your support. If you can support my family, that gives me my peace of mind. It means I can continue to do the work I do. You can do so at www.supporttommy.com. I appreciate every bit of support, as do my children. It gives me the ability to fly them out here to see me so I can stay in constant contact with them. I'm deplatformed and I'm censored, so I need you. I need you to share this content and make sure you stay tuned for upcoming weekly guests, interesting guests, exciting guests. I'm Tom Robinson and this has been my podcast, Silenced.